totally winging this. So I appreciate Monica-san having faith in me to start this. I'm gonna pour this for myself. What's up?
I know that's the problem with virtual background. I really don't want you to have to see
I know.
what's going on behind me, but
Okay,
maybe
we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. 乾杯です。とりあえず乾杯です。
All right, I'm gonna turn my background off. This is ridiculous.
I have my my boyfriend, my secret weapon here too, so he's gonna. You have to meet him, Monica-san. Cheers! Hi!
Mama, how are you all?
お疲れ様です。
I know. I'll have sake in a moment, but
Okay,
it won't be Yuho.
It's okay. It's not just about Yuho, and I'm gonna try to. とりあえず乾杯です。
It's okay, Sachiko and I drank all the Yuho left in the country, apparently.
But I did look at some wonderful old photos of Yuho having an amazing dinner. And then I thought about what I just read about having to do all her own cooking. And I thought, what a contrast of conditions.
Well, I'll always remember, Chris-san, when we did the WSET educator training and you were assigned the Yuho as the sake to present, and you had the most non-technical explanation of the sake.
That's true. It's still me. I'm very non-technical, but I'm very enthusiastic.
All right, you guys know each other, but this is my first time. Is it my first time meeting you, Chris-san?
Hi, it is.
Hi.
Sachiko, how do you do?
Yes, I'm good. I'm live casting this to Facebook right now. And it's
okay.
It's like it's
Toshi will be joining us in a moment.
Okay.
I'm already here.
Oh, Toshi, where are you?
All
Hi,
right.
Hi,
Toshi.
everybody.
お久しぶり。
お久しぶりです。お元気ですか?
元気です。
Thank you for having me today. Really appreciate it.
Oh, it's nice to see you.
And then Bo-san, I want to make sure he's hiding, but Mei-san and Bo-san from True Sake is here. They're trying to close their place. I think you close it. Do you close at 6:30? 6? Oh, we can't hear you. I think you're.
We're already closed.
You're already
Okay.
closed. I'm sorry to keep you. Do you have a glass of sake, or is that going to be after you go home?
Probably when I go home because I have.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I don't want to hold you guys up. I know, you know.
Yay.
Ah, amazing. All right.
There's not a lot in country right now, so we're taking offers on these bottles right now.
Oh my God. Is
All
it
proceeds.
Ishobin desu ka? Ishobin?
No.
Oh, they look like
It looks big.
Oh my God. You carry Ishobin too though, yeah?
Not for the Yuho.
Not for the Yuho. Okay. All right.
Yuho is one of the best in Ishobin because it's indestructible. I've tried to destroy the sake in every way I know how. Like I've boiled it, let it cool down to room temperature. I've left it in the sun open for a year, and it just keeps tasting better.
Amazing, amazing. So we'll do this kanpai again. We're live on Facebook now. Thank you all for joining. Operation Yuho 最初の first conversation. So kanpai to that. Thanks for joining. Cheers.
Kanpai, Soma-san.
Kanpai.
Soma-san's also at work in Kwan too. Hanyato in Seattle.
Yeah, sorry, we're working.
I know they're working really hard.
Sorry.
Okay. Russell King, who used to be there and now is in New Mexico, is here. Kanpai. You have your fancy Junmai glass. Aya-chan, from Vegas is here too. Todo-san from Boston. Dilla Lee from Chicago. She's going to cover like 5-6 different states. She works for Buying Connections now, so we're going to sell the shit out of Yuho to begin with.
Yeah, she has 5 states, but she has the energy for all 50. So it's.
Oh yeah, I believe she does. Oba-san, for those of you that don't know, WSET educator to the educators is here. And a lot of people that I'm just meeting. Alyssa from formerly of Oya and Koji Club. amazing, amazing place to get sake. And of course, True Sake has been around for 15 years. Is that right? Yeah, more. Yeah, more than that.
I think we're going 20 soon, right?
Nearly 2
God,
decades.
I'm sorry, I misspoke.
No, it's okay.
20 years, you guys. If you haven't been there, I made my pilgrimage trip when I took John Gottner's class. And Mei-chan was in my class, and everybody knew her, but I don't think she knew everybody. There were like 50 some people in there. But this is amazing. Miyuki-san from Portland, Oregon. Ayaka-san, who owns several restaurants in San Diego, is here. A lot of you that, oh, Yishi-san, who just got a new position selling sake and wine in Boston. Did I mention Todd Bellamy from Boston too? Badass brewer. Used to work at Sam Adams. Swordsmithing, amazing, like Japanese guy inside that is totally white on the outside. Anyway,
Is that a banana?
banana.
Oh no, that's the
I'm a
opposite.
banana.
Whatever the opposite of a
I'm
banana is.
You're like the hard-boiled egg.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
Yeah, you're the opposite. But we have some important people here too. So I just want to come by again. I'm just gonna try not to get too drunk.
It's great to see everyone. It's great to see Jeff from Hawaii.
Oh,
And
yeah, Jeff.
I can't believe Miyuki is joining us from the gym in Portland.
Wow. And then Monica-san, if you don't mind, maybe we can kick off this meeting, an official or meeting of Yuho. I don't know, just how amazing Yuho is, how you feel about Yuho, and then I can share how I feel about it. And like I said, I don't want to keep Mei-san and Bo-san sitting at their store empty-handed until they get home and sit down and actually drink. So let's kick it off with Monica Samuels and then go on to Bo-san and Mei-san, and then we can keep going.
Thank you so much. And it's so nice to have everyone together tonight. Any excuse to see all of your faces is a great one. You know, I'm so glad that Suchko is relentlessly promoting Yuho right now. You know, I think the one thing that we can probably all agree on if we've spent time with brewers is that they're way too humble, and they really don't know how to promote themselves at all. And when it comes to women in the sake industry, it's even more pronounced. You know, Japan is so good at so many things, and promoting women in the workplace is really not one of them. And there's a lot of making women feel like they're underqualified for jobs, and also that, like, what's the point of trying to get in the workforce? You're just going to have a family, you know, and it's a waste of time to educate you. Or so it's really hard to find mentors, you know, in general, and to have someone so unexpected as the owner and brewer of Yuho is really cool. You know, Miho Fujita, born and raised in Tokyo. She was working for Mattel as an executive for Hot Wheels cars, in single career woman. And right around the time that, you know, the premium sake was becoming really well known in Japan, commercially distributed, it was great for the industry, but bad for a lot of rural breweries that were going out of business, because all of a sudden you could get great sake anywhere in the country. And so at that time, this brewery on the Noto Peninsula in Ishikawa was going out of business, and Miho-san's father was born near there, and he purchased this brewery with the intention of his brother running it, and his brother fell ill and couldn't take over. And so he contacted his daughter and he said, hey, do you want to move across the country and run this brewery? And it was kind of this great opportunity for Miho, because Hot Wheels are cool, and I think we all have nostalgic relationships with Hot Wheels, those of us who are old enough to have played with them. But if you've played with Japanese toys, they're so much cooler. And a car that you actually have to move yourself is not that exciting. And so the Hot Wheels campaign was not going well, and she kind of needed a way to save face and an exit strategy. And so, and also she knew that if she took over this brewery, nobody expected anything from her. They were like, who is this? She's a woman who knows nothing about sake, who's not from Ishikawa. And so she just had time to figure it out and get settled in. And there was none of this generational pressure to fulfill what your ancestors did. And she went to Ishikawa. She drank and ate just very like joyfully, and she fell in love with a brewer's style. The brewer Yokomichi-san, who was the Toji at Mukune at Daimon, and also and he was the Toji at Daimon when his kurabito was Philip Harper. So he was Philip Harper's boss, and they really shared a lot of very similar philosophies in making sake that was soulful and powerful and impactful and wasn't about being pretty at all. And she loved that. And so she made him an offer that nobody gets in Japan. She said, look, come work with me. I will not give you any direction. Like, I love what you do. Make whatever you want to make at my brewery. Teach me how to brew sake. Teach me how to work for you. And let's come up with a brand. And so they did it for a while, and they made all this sake. And at night they would eat pork. They loved pork, and they would drink sake that they thought went with pork. And this guy was getting kind of antsy because she couldn't figure out a brand or an identity. And he said, look, we are in the middle of nowhere. The only thing that anyone would visit Yuho for, or visit here, this town, Hakui, for, is to see the UFOs. We have this UFO museum, and people are so superstitious. So let's just call this brewery Yuho. It'll show people that we want to have fun and we don't take ourselves too seriously. And so the actual kanji on the bottle is read as Yuho, and it can be translated into happy rice. But if you look at any other marketing in Japan, it's all flying saucers and aliens. And so it's playful, it's fun. And she, I think because she just fell into this industry, she's the most self-deprecating, like dry sense of humor person ever. And I'm so glad that Sachiko, you got to spend a lot of time with her recently. So I'd love to hear your impression.
Yes. Thank you, Monica-san, for that overview. And this is a meeting where it's like you're free to come and free to go. Just drop us a line so we can say bye to you. Like, but you know, Irish goodbyes are totally fine too. I know it's like 9:42. You've had a very long day. Thank you for all your intel, how much you do for the industry. All the stories, it's really amazing. My story, my recent story, well, I started working at Tipsy, which is an online e-commerce shop, or it's online sake retail shop, and we do interviews for brewers or brewery owners. So Mimi works at Tipsy, and it's her project. So I get to sit in on some of the interviews, and we had a 1 hour long interview, and she showed me the little alien that was sitting in the back shelf. You push the tummy and the tongue comes out. Everybody wants it now. But I had that 1 hour interview, and so we got to meet face to face over Zoom. And then I was at Taste with the Toji event. Sometimes when I wake up at 2 or 3 a.m. and I'm able to join, I join the Sake Mistress in Australia, and I joined, and it was about an artisan this time. And then, but at the end, everybody's having such a great time. It's evening in Japan, everybody's getting drunk and talking a lot. And Miho-san just happened to be in the audience. So the presentation was over. There were just stragglers. I was one of the stragglers because I was just waking up in the US. And then they asked her, somebody, I think it was Harold, but somebody asked her, how was your brewing season? And this is a super technical, geeky group. So I suspect the question was more like, how was the rice? How did the rice melt this year? Or what was the quality like? And she said, well, and she's just her, right? Super humble. And she's like, well, we couldn't hire one employee this year, which was unfortunate. And we couldn't hire the makanai no hito, the cook either. So I had to learn how to cook for everybody, which was a learning curve, and it was, challenging. I was like, I had heard Philip Harper talk about how hard it was, 2020 has been already back in October when World Sake Imports did their tour. And I'm just itching to sell sake because this is a great time to buy sake. Everybody's at home, and that's where sake belongs right now. And it's just something that you can get intimate with the ishobing. We don't carry ishobings, but the 1.8 liter, I encourage you to buy those. And I was like, this is too much. Like, I can't keep hearing these things. And so I asked her, how many cases do we need to sell for you at Tipsy or anywhere else so that you can hire your cook back and you can get, you know, you can recover from this stupidity that's been going on. And she was like, no, like she didn't mean to call any attention to herself. She's probably sorry that she even mentioned it. And I'm like, no, I need to know how many cases. I'm going to make it a personal goal to sell that many cases so that you can hire your chef back, you can go back to normal, which is back to normal is still struggling. They don't talk about it, but this is a dying industry. You're trying to make it happen while making beautiful product, which is, I can't imagine the challenges. So that's where Operation Yuho started. I said, well, you're not telling me, I totally understand. I don't care. I will talk to everybody that I know and make sure that your product is always sold out. And we have to order more and order more and order more. So I think that day I had a chance to talk to you, Monica-san. And then Dilla based in Chicago was totally on board, and everybody just started pitching in. So that's the story. And again, we have a very important guest as well. We'd love to hear from Bo-san, who has had this store for 20 years. He is a true pioneer in this industry. Everybody, you know, he gets like plagiarized a lot, I feel like everybody goes to his tasting notes. Like there isn't a sake person that doesn't know this shop in San Francisco. So Bo-san, if you don't mind, if you would like to say a few words about how you've been doing during this pandemic, how we can help you, what we should be doing, because I also feel like making people buy UFO like as a fad isn't ultimately gonna help a small business. So I just would love to hear from another samurai. How are you doing? How we can support you? Because I know every dollar spent there is not only supporting you, but every brewery that's in Japan. So go ahead, unmute yourself and say hi to us. Tell us how your day's been, what you're gonna drink at home once you get there, and yeah, how you feel about Yuho and other things, I guess.
It's dangerous when May unmutes me because I can talk forever. I see such a wonderful family right here, and that's the whole point sort of sake. I think it's one of the best families in all of the libation industry. Everybody's connected. They know it and they don't know it and they do know it. And when you find out certain family members need help, you hear things coming through the grapevine. So when we heard about this, of course, my family members, we all take care of each other and we do whatever we can to do. And we're in it to win it for everybody. And it is one brewery we're talking about right now, but a lot of breweries have similar issues. And so, Sachiko, thank you very much for your kind words. You sort of nailed it. It is one brewery, but it's also the whole industry. And for decades, we've been talking about high tides raise all ships. So a lot of people don't know it. I see different importers here and everybody, we know that it's not, we're selling each other sakes every day. And so Yuho sake helps me sell Enter sake. We all help each other. Each brew sort of helps each other. And so the whole fact of your point, what you're saying is, I think we love specializing when somebody's hurting or needs special help to take attention to that person or that brewery. And but the whole industry itself is the best thing that we can do as all of the family members that we are is just keep working and striving and selling more sake. And I was looking, actually May did a great job. She went over some of our numbers. May's the number person. And we can talk about, I look back in time how much Yuho we've sold, and it's kind of fun for me to say we've dealt in pallets of sake from Ishikawa, and that's pretty cool. And we like that. And I have very personal conversations with Miho that I could talk about, but I wanted to wear a UFO mask on tonight. I wanted to have an alien mask on when we were talking, but she's a special person. And to the family comment, she's one of a kind. And it's an honor to sell her sake because I know her, and her brews are very unique, and they are easy to sell, but they're hard to sell, but they're easy to sell. That's the nature of sake. And so we always talk about a story. The story sells the brew, but she's so awesome that her sake is great and it sells itself. It doesn't need the story. It doesn't need UFOs. It doesn't need trickerations. That helps. That's fun. That's cool. But her sakes are so unique, and we've had such an honor selling them over the years. And I pinged Monica this morning and I said, whatever we can do, because we are a family and you can't stay on top of everything. We deal with a lot of product like you guys do. And in the industry, there's a lot of sake. And so when we found out, so we've decided to do certain things too, to help out. And May and I want to announce that June will be Yuho month, where we'll heavily discount Yuho, and we will move far faster and more than we have in the past. And hopefully a cook can come out of it or something like that. But I think it's incremental. It's not just 1 month. We're going to continue to sell this awesome product because it sells itself. And so our job is to keep doing what we do. And we love doing what we do because it's easy. It's just easy. And as I joke, and Sachiko, to your point, I've been hand selling sake for a long time. And it's been tough to get people to take a bottle of sake home to their table. They'll drink it at a sushi restaurant, what have you. And I joke and say that COVID did more for hand sales of sake in 3 months than I've done in 18, 19 years of selling sake. It just brought the bottle home. And so now I think we're going to see a whole new generation of sake drinkers, the explorers, the people who are taking a chance, and then the people who are realize like, oh my God, this bottle of Yuho actually goes great with what we're grilling tonight. So there's a silver lining to all of this. And I believe in that firmly. I think there'll be a huge silver lining to what you're doing and what Yuho's all about right now. I think we'll see certain positives come out of this sort of difficult time. And I've spoken way too much. We need to mute me again. Thank you, everybody.
No, not at all. Thank you so much for this valuable insight. And Mei-chan for being awesome and bringing everybody together to your point that this is like done great things in a way, like COVID times has really encouraged people to drink at home. And but I'm also heartbroken that export sales in America fell to 3rd place in 2020 because sake still as a whole is mostly drank at restaurants. And now what's happening right now in Japan is what was happening 10 years ago, where they're like, please don't drink. You can't drink in public. You can't drink at restaurants. You can't drink at home because that's not a good thing to do, is what the government is saying again. And it's like, what? Then how are these places going to survive? So I feel like we're, as the sake industry in Japan, it's even dire. America can kick butt more, definitely, I think, but we need everybody's help. I can't, I'm just a wee person, can't do, there's only so much I can drink and purchase. And I think that if everybody who cared to join this meeting or Zoom today can just make a point to speak up and talk about it, that would be amazing. And I see James Mark's hand up, so maybe we will keep going, and hopefully, Mei-chan, if you have anything to say, please do unmute yourself and add to that.
Just before we pass it on to James, just wanted to say thank you so much, Sachiko-san, for organizing this. I think everyone kind of felt your passion for sake, especially you, Ho, and just really happy to see a lot of people from the industry, your names just pop up all in one chat to, do what we do best and sell sake.
Yeah, we
So
just
thank you.
fuel each other, you know?
Thank you so much.
Make Monica-san work really hard.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining. Please do grab a drink at home. I'm still curious what you're going to drink at home, but it can be anything, wine, whatever. お疲れ様です。お疲れ様です。All right. So James-san, let's hear from you.
Hey, yeah, I'm James. I I own a sake bar in New England, and so I mostly come from well, up until this year, all on-premise sales. Although this year's obviously shifted to essentially we're a bottle shop now. But the thing that has always interested me, and one of the kind of hidden values, hidden values of Yuho, to people that sell on premise is, how Yuho works with the oxidation curve, and the flavor profiles that it showcases. So, I remember very specifically being told at one point, with the Kimoto, like opening the bottle and letting it sit for however long you can get it to stay open for before you serve it, and talking like a year plus, that particular sake. And we find the same thing with the Junmai. We work with 1.8s of the Junmai, and when we get cases in, we just open the cases right away. We open every bottle and then we sell it as it's ready, because I think it's and compared to a lot of other sake available, East Coast distribution is different from what everyone has available over on the West, and especially in just smaller markets.
Order every single thing.
But Yuho occupies a unique space where it's like you're not forced to sell it, as quickly as possible, essentially. And of course you have a couple days. It's better than wine. All sake is better than wine, but Yuho in particular, when you have 10, 15 sake by the glass, to not have to worry about a bottle going off on you or moving in a direction that you're not happy with, I think is a really beautiful thing.
Yes. Can you tell me, how do people reach your business? Do you have a website or?
Big King PVD is the name of is the website. Big King PVD or Big King PVD, BigKingPVD.com is the website. Big King PVD is all the social media handles.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'll have to come visit you in Providence, right? That's what it stands for. All right. Let's hear from Namazake Paul.
How you doing, everyone? Nice to see you all. Pretty cool what a group of people. I think it's been a long time since I've seen so many cool sake people in one place. So thank you, Sachiko, for bringing us all together. I want to just share a fun little story from last July. Monica and I did a online cooking demonstration with Yuho. We had a blast. So I sent out a kit to many of my clients that included Kambara, Bride of the Fox, and Yuho, and I can't remember what was the third one we sent.
Cowboy Yamahai.
Yes, Cowboy Yamahai, of course. So we sent all three of those, and I sent some koji and instructions for aging your steak with koji, and a recipe for some sauteed kale in a miso and mushrooms. And we zoomed in Miho and talked about sake and talked about pairings and had a blast. But I share all that story, one, because it's fun and cool. But I would say that for me, what's exciting about Yuho is that it's so wonderful to pair with foods, that it's so incredibly versatile across so many different types of foods. And so many times when consumers think of sake, they think of things that are on a very different end of the spectrum. And so it's so fun to use Yuho as a door, as a sort of a gateway drug, if you will, to this other side of sake, the B side, as I like to call it. I like to talk about Yamaha and Kimoto having an A side and a B side, and it's definitely on the B side, on the fun side. So that to me is the excitement and the encouragement I have for you all is to sell sake through food pairings and through encouraging people to drink sake with what they're having on a regular day, whether it's steak or pizza or spaghetti or whatever they're having sake and not thinking, oh my gosh, I need to go get sushi or something like that to enjoy sake.
Awesome. And for those of you that don't know Namazake Paul, you can order sake from him, all seasonal, mostly all nama, right?
Yes, in fact, I'm drinking all sorts of nama today.
Yeah, he's based in
Yeah.
Oregon. What's the best way to reach you? Is it Instagram or
On the website, yeah.
website? Is it
Grab me on. I'll put that in the chat.
awesome? Namazake Paul 超ギギです. He's like, yeah, he's the wealth of knowledge and how you get that information. I have no idea, but
Just listening to you all, just
yeah,
listening to Monica for years and things like that.
yeah, and stopping everything when Bosan talks so that you can note everything. We have another sake samurai that joined, I believe. Sorry, I am giving priorities to sake samurais. This is a samurai, friendship chat. It's becoming one, but I can't see all of everything, but I believe the ninja is here. But at the same time, he did comment, but he said he was going to be on the road. So I don't know if he.
Well, we have John Gottner, who's
Oh, sorry.
he's currently quarantining in Japan.
ジョン・ガントナー先生がいらっしゃる? I don't see him. Is that my fault?
Yeah, he's waving. John, do you want to unmute?
Yeah, I had forgot that mute thing there. I had to.
Oh my God, sorry. There you are. This is where we drop everything and listen to the evangelist.
Why would you do that? Probably not your best choice.
From Japan. Where are you now? You have so many homes in Japan.
No, I've only got one. I'm in Kamakura.
Kamakura? Okay, just room. I've seen you post about, your classes and it's all black instruments like microphone and 2 screens. And
oh yeah. Yeah, I set that up when I have to and take it down when I don't need it. So it's not up right now.
Thank you for joining us from
My
Japan.
pleasure, my pleasure. I want to support as much as I can, for sure.
Yuho, Monica-san has Yuho too, and Bo-san, we got to hear Bo-san speak from Sake, and Mei-san, they stayed after closing just to join us, which was amazing. And Monica-san gave us an amazing overview of Yuho and Miho Fujita and what we're dealing with. And some others have pitched in on how amazing Yuho is, but also like the state of the industry. I know you have a talk, end of May about the state of industry. And I feel like the climate in Japan is kind of depressing right now, isn't it? I mean, it reminds me of 10 years ago is what I was saying, but I wasn't there 10 years ago to experience the earthquake, and I'm not there right now. So what is it like being in Japan right now and being so involved in the sake industry that needs to help a lot right now?
Well, things are changing so quickly and not necessarily for the better. I mean, comparing it to the earthquake is kind of challenging because that really just affected many of the brewers of Tohoku, right? And they were able to start recovering from that. At least a lot of them were relatively quickly. This thing keeps dragging on and we're not seeing much of a light at the end of the tunnel. For example, right now, Tokyo, Osaka, Kobe, and parts of Kanagawa, including Kamakura, are going into a version of a state of emergency. They call it Mayimboshi, which is, I don't know, like an assistant state of emergency or something like that. But no alcohol can be served at any restaurants. Zip, the big goose egg, until the 11th of May and possibly extended after that. So that's really, and we won't see those numbers for months. We won't know how bad this is going to hit the industry for months. Of course, retail is still active, right? And so it's kind of hard to foresee how much it's going to do it. But just when it started to look like recovery was coming around, the virus numbers kept growing. And with Japan still trying to pull off the Olympics, they had to take some more drastic measures. And so that's what they've done. And we just have to sit here and wait it out and see what happens. Retail and online sales are quite strong, actually. That's the silver lining, but it's still a pretty big dark cloud. So, and again, most importantly, is things are moving so quickly that it's really hard to take a decent snapshot of what's happening. It's hard to really see how things are going and how quickly they will return or bounce back. If we'll get a V-shaped recovery or a long, slow languish, simply because things are changing so quickly. So just have to sit tight and wait to see what unfolds and drink plenty of sake, starting with Yuho.
Thank you. ジョンさんは how do you get your sake? Do you go to the store nearby, or do you order it online and get it shipped, or are you just so full of, your cellar is completely full of sake that you never have to buy it yourself?
Yes to all three of the above.
Ah.
I do have plenty around, of course, but I do shop and I do buy what things I've been looking for and things I haven't tasted yet. And if I got to go too far, I do buy online. So I do all three of those, actually.
How big is your refrigerator?
Right now, it's a normal one. I used to have a special sake only refrigerator, but my wife and daughter are still in the United States for a while, and my son's in college, so there's nobody here but me when I'm here. So that leaves lots of room for sake.
He's in college in Japan?
Yeah.
Amazing.
He just started it's a program where you could start in the fall. So we started in August.
And he goes to college?
Yeah, he lives in a dorm in
wow.
Japan, Tokyo.
Okay. And they all wear masks. I'm sorry, I just don't know what it's like living in Japan right now.
Yeah. The answer to the question is yes, but check this out. He's also playing football.
Without a mask.
I assume. They got helmets on. They got helmets on, and they're checked regularly, I think. But
yeah.
So. Oh, wait a minute. Let me tell you something else that's kind of important. The classes are online. They don't meet. They're all virtual classes.
Oh, okay.
At least it's his university, at least now.
Mm-hmm. Just like your online certification class that anybody can join from anywhere in the world if they want, because it's online, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'll be doing the next one in July. Right? I'll be doing the next one in July. Yeah. Weekends in July. Saturday and Sundays in July.
All right. And you wear so many different hats, being involved with the government and also, and say, like, I imagine you have a lot of influence in sales and exports and advising people. You've put up your own educational site. You do the sake industry news. What's the best way to support you and your endeavors and like your mission? Like, do we follow you, or do we spread the word about certifications? What's the best way to support what you're doing in the industry?
Well, I guess just keep trying to learn about sake and keep drinking a wide range of sake, to be honest with you. If you're more interested in some of the things that I do, Sake Industry News is what I think, it's something I'm extremely proud of, to tell you the truth. And then if you haven't studied sake formally, I do run a course online that I think is worthwhile. To me, Sake Industry News is cool because again, I use this line all the time in social media, but if two wine people walk into a bar, they could talk about the industry in France or whatever country from which they're importing wine, right? They could talk at a level that talks about producers and personalities and things like that. And so they have an affinity with the producers of their product. We don't have that yet in the United States with sake. Once we do, people will be even more motivated to sell it, more motivated to drink it, more motivated to enjoy it. So I'm trying to create an affinity with the industry and people that sell it and enjoy it overseas. So I'm actually quite happy about what I've achieved with that. And I want to keep promoting that as well, so that more and more people become more familiar with the industry in Japan.
Awesome. And I just have a personal question to ask at the end. well, I'm sure other people have questions they want to ask you, but may I ask?
Of course, of course. Depends how personal it is, but you can at least ask.
That's what's so impressive, I think. That what I find impressive is that you're working within this Japanese society. So it's very freeing to be in America working in sake, because we appreciate the craft and, you know, the sensibilities and humbleness, but we don't have to be humble. We can we can talk about it. We, you know, I can use swear words and people love it. And it's like, I can't imagine I can do that in Japan. So how have you navigated through working within such a like traditional and sort of, yeah, such a traditional, how have you navigated that, being like appealing to the American market and, I don't know, sensibilities while working within Japan and you know, officials?
That's an interesting question. I think that the reason I'm able to do what I do here is because I never got here and say, all right, folks, I'm here. It's going to be all fine from now on. I never came forward and say, this is what I'm going to do. I just kind of did things that the industry looked at and they were like, wow, he's doing that better than we can do that. So let's support him, right? And let's get him involved in more things. Just conveying sake in a very, very nuts and bolts way in English was something that I did from the beginning, and I was doing it better than the industry could. So they saw what I was doing, and I think just saw that I was filling a need. And I don't know. That's the best thing I can say about that. I never really, I don't know, announced that I'm here and that everything's going to be cool from here on out. I just kind of quietly toiled away. In terms of conveying stuff, I'm actually not very intelligent at all. So I need to have things really simplified for myself. So I just teach them and convey them as if I was talking to myself. And that's pretty easy that way.
Mm-hmm.
But those are the best answers I can give you. I hadn't really thought about those questions before.
That's awesome. Do you ever think about yourself had you stayed in engineering?
What it would have been like? Oh, a completely different world. I can't even imagine it. Not that I disliked engineering. It just wasn't, I don't know. It's not the way things flowed. I can't imagine doing anything else, to be honest with you.
素晴らしいです。ありがとうございます。
とんでもないです。
Thank you for your time. Of course, you know, you unmute yourself and then everybody waits to speak. So that's how it works whenever John Gottner's here. I tell you.
And it's really a good thing. So maybe I should just mute myself then, huh?
Yeah, yeah. And then I might run it over to Dila-chan. Dilla Lee, who is based in Chicago. She's been an amazing support. She jumped on this chance and she's kind of an influencer too. And Monica-san did an amazing job for hiring her fairly recently, but I've known her while she was an influencer. And I'd love to hear from you, Dilla, how you're doing. I know you've been spreading the love of Operation Yuho with friends, and you have 5 states under your belt. You've already contacted them. There's things that are moving. What are some like challenges? How can we support you? Who are the players? How are you doing?
This like happened literally one of the best times that it could have happened, that you reached out to me, because I had a lot of new opening spots in Chicago. So we burned through almost the last 2 cases for each of the SKUs. And one place is almost out, like Hinoki. That's a new opening place by Kyotensu. They picked on a lot, but I would like to thank, her camera is not on over here, but Wendy Lynn, who was following me, and she's like, I don't know you, but I just want to go ahead and buy this. Where can I buy it? And I told her where she could be purchasing it. She's like, you know, I'm just going to go to my neighborhood store and I'm going to tell them that they need to bring it, because I shop from there a lot. So she is the person who did the last placements over here that like helped us blow through it pretty much, you know, and it was just a perfect moment. So we are getting some more soon, and it's just going to be putting it all over the place. What I really, really love about Yuho though, it's sometimes when I'm doing like pairings, especially for non-Asian restaurants, I need to play very carefully, you know, especially with like the buyers that were not open to bring in sake to their restaurants. So when it comes to Yuho and being able to actually taste them through multiple different temperatures, and it's drinking so well in many, many different stages, has helped me a lot. Any Italian restaurant that I can walk in like proudly, you know, and do a pairing. And I was just like, I'm gonna blindly for today, like pick the cheese. Literally, I didn't even look at it. I just looked at the aged like French cheeses. I have never had Valdeon, or I probably don't even pronounce this right. You know, it's ちょっと匂いが不思議なんですけど, like it's pretty stinky, but it's like really tasty. And I literally am done with the crackers and this. Like this is my comfort zone, and it makes it so easy for me in order to be able to go and like, you know, present Yuho to any style of restaurant. So I was talking to Monica today, booking a trip to Massachusetts and Florida within the next month. So I'm about to just, you know, throw a Yuho festival. So I need all of your support. Thank you.
That's amazing. Do you keep Yuho in the fridge or do you keep it at room temperature?
So my ishobin was in room temperature, and my 720s, the regular sizes, were both in the fridge. So as I was saying, I like to go back and forth. So I started the cheese that halfway is gone, which was with the ishobin. I think I drank a good amount of this with you last week. So, and we will be moving to a different direction, but I really enjoy it. And like, I love it cold, but for me, a little above room temperature is like fantastic.
I love it room temperature. And
yeah,
I didn't know what Monica-san was saying, the connection between Tamagawa and no wonder those products are so amazing, you know.
I agree.
I just can't get out enough of it, and speechless.
Kwan-san is like, just sold Yuho. Yay! Arigatou gozaimasu.
I thought Jason Adamson had his hand up, but he doesn't. It was just my cursor that had a hand thing. But should we keep hearing from Sake Samurais as well? The Sake Ninja is actually sitting in his room with his video on, which means I think we can talk to him. No, he says no. He's just entertaining. Oh, sorry.
I can talk.
What are you drinking?
I got right now I'm drinking because of the tie together that was mentioned. I am sipping on some Tamagawa because I may have drunk all of the Yuho last Saturday when I might have had a barbecue in my apartment. Can't confirm nor deny the fact that that bottle was.
I have an ishobin.
Excellent, enjoyable. Yeah, we had I love Yuho. I've been lucky enough to hang out with Miho due to my amazing friend Monica Samuels. We've had many events and rooftop parties and fun, like serious events and more casual, just enjoying ourselves and eating. And one of the things that I remember from those days was how wonderful Yuho went with the barbecue ribs. So when we knew we were gonna have a little sake day last weekend, I made some pork ribs and a whole bunch of other foods, but the Yuho was the star of the show when it came to hanging out with that food. And an amazing person, and I'm super happy that we can do this to support her and support sake. So happy to be here. I spent the last 2 days driving around the Hamptons, and I just spent about 5 hours driving home. So my brain is a little wonky. John Donner knows what that means. We got to hear from him the day that he got to Japan. So I don't have much cognitive sense happening right now. So I will step back away unless there's a specific question and listen to all you wonderful people and just say kanpai to Operation Yuho. Cheers, everybody.
Yuho, kanpai. Kanpai, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. And I know that with your position with World Sake Imports, you concentrate on very, artisanal, even within the 1,000+ breweries that are there. Every single one is exquisite. Not that there isn't a sake brewery that isn't amazing, but and we didn't get into like the sad, depressing, I want to cry kind of topic, but it isn't just Miyoya Shizzle that is struggling. It's every single brewery that is not able to hire that chef, and they're all making their own meals, and they weren't able to hire all the staff that they would love to hire. And it's been like that before the pandemic, and now with the pandemic, and even what John Gottner was saying, like you are not to drink right now, which is I don't know what I would do. That's my go-to. That's how I connect with people. And so please support amazing World Sake Imports products. They're all amazing, including Tamagawa. They do brewery tours almost every month where you connect to the makers' voices themselves, and follow them. The Sake Ninja does various things, not just tied down to the importing business, but to the public, and does public service with his and you might see him in the ninja outfit sometimes. So for those of you that haven't had a chance to see him live, this was your chance. Awesome. Thank you.
Hey, Sachiko, can we invite Rai to speak next? Because we talked a little about industry publications, but we haven't talked about sake today yet. And Rai has been a huge champion of Yuho, and he's gotten his local pizza place to carry Yuho, and he's just been really creative and passionate about this brand for a long time.
Amazing. Sake Today, everyone, the publication of
I brought the Miho issue.
Oh my God. Yes, please speak.
So nice to meet everyone. I recognize quite a lot of you. If not personally, I recognize your names as subscribers and readers. So thank you all. And thank you, Monica, for sending me the invite. I was like, oh, how do I get into this? I was a little slow. I'm a little bit under the weather from a bottle of Yuho last night that I decided to drink on my own as a show of support. But yes, as Monica mentioned, I'm the publisher of Sake Today and the co-founder, along with John Gottner. We published this about 8 years ago. I think we started. It's crazy, hard to believe, but it's been about 8 years since we started it. For those of you who know Robert Yellen, he introduced us and said, you guys ought to get together. And we did. And within 5 minutes of meeting, we were talking about doing a magazine. And I don't really remember a whole lot about that first meeting because we went through 2.5, 3 bottles of sake at his house. I don't even remember getting home, but that was how Sake Today started. And Yuho has been one of our most steadfast supporters since the beginning. She's consistently advertised, and so she's also a great person with great, she produces great sake, and so we try to, show additional support for her. I talk to my local liquor shops to try to get them to carry Yuho, and they all do. This issue is a funny one. She hated this picture. She's like, why did you put a picture of me that I look like an Obasan on there? Why couldn't you put like a younger picture? But this was one of our more popular covers. And it's really funny when I would take this around the liquor stores, to convince them to carry Yuho. They're like, oh, who's that? She's really cute. I want to meet her.
When is that from? Is it recent or?
This is issue 17. This was actually an issue about women in the industry. We had another standalone feature about Miyoya, and actually I'll put that online tonight, that full feature. I'll put that at the top of our homepage. And also for those of you who don't subscribe, we had a recipe in the last issue that was a pairing recipe with Yuho, because it's just got such great umami and savory character to it. And so a chef amateur chef I know, did a really nice Italian fish recipe specifically to pair with Yuho. We sent him a bottle.
Russell King is holding it up to the screen right now, the fried branzino and
Oh, there
Yuho.
you go. So thank you.
Where's Russell King?
He's that, yeah. So we'll put that recipe up on the website for those of you who aren't subscribers and wanna try it out, and then we'll put the feature with Milia Shuzo up at the top of the homepage as well, and hopefully that can provide a little extra support.
That's amazing. Where are you based right now?
I'm actually in the San Francisco Bay Area, East Bay. My main office is in Yokohama. Like John, I do the back and forth, but I spend most of my time here in the Bay Area. I teach part-time at UC Berkeley. It's kind of funny, you know, because your students are going to Google you, you know they are. So I just have to head it off at the pass because there's lots of pictures of me drinking online, and they're like, "Who is this professor?" Like, you know, drunk in all these pictures. So I have to just tell my students, look, you know, I do this food and beverage magazine. It's you know, it's I feel like it's an important piece of literature in a sense, you know, in a broad sense, that sheds light on Japanese culture and history. For those of you that read Sake Today, you know, it's not just about sake. We try to go in depth about culture and history. Our new issue has a funny feature about the history of hangovers and remedies in Japan, and it's really fascinating. It goes into samurai history and what they did to deal with those rough mornings. So we try to, you know, use sake as a lens to view Japanese culture, and John and I are still trying to figure this out eight years later, but you know, the magazine is going relatively strong. Our subscriptions are you know, growing slowly but steadily, and we just kind of feel our way forward, I think. And again, it's because of sponsors like Yuho that we're able to keep going.
Yeah, she's not paying her makanai lady, but she's still supporting Sake Today.
Yeah. So, but I keep that in mind. You know, I do keep that in mind. And so it's like, we try to make placements for her sake so that she's recouping, you know, the money so that it pays for itself. We're very conscious of that, I think, with small business owners. You know, we do have sponsors from the large breweries, you know, Gekkeikan, Ozeki, those kinds. They're going to be fine on their own. It's really the smaller, steadfast supporters like Yuho where I go out and actively make placements for her so that she can recoup the money, and then, you know, whatever benefits she gets after that, you know, great. You know, it will hopefully help her.
Like Bo said, I mean, we're a family and this industry is really circular, and we have to pay it forward because all of us are going to be in a situation where we need help from someone else.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And then
thank you.
There's also some brewers on here. Todd Bellamy from Farthest Star Sake. Been around for a long time. Also Setting Sun Sake. I think Josh and Kim are here. I'd love to hear from them how they've been doing. I mean, I basically want to hear from every single person, but should we just see how Todd's doing? It's a startup. He did a Kickstarter and you have a new brewery. How is that going?
It is going well, frustrating, but well. We had a little problem with the town because the town business, the guy in charge of the building department doesn't like the landlord. So we had to kind of navigate a minefield of local politics and some bad blood between the town and landlord, which we didn't know about when we signed the lease. So we're about 8 weeks, or more like 6 weeks behind. So we're going to start construction next week. We have 6,000 square feet, and next week we're going to cut the floor drains and cut the concrete for the bar and the bathrooms and everything. And then I'm trying to just navigate this insane world of I've got all these timelines that are constantly being sabotaged. I've got equipment on its way on a boat from China and Japan. So I'm trying to find a place to stick that stuff while we finish the floors and everything. So it's a lot. It's a juggling act, but it's exciting.
So what do you drink that's not your creation at home?
I am a pretty healthy customer of Tipsy Sake, as you well know. Currently, I'm drinking, obviously, Yuho. I actually ordered my last Tipsy Sake order real late at night after a sake Zoom call and accidentally ordered 2 bottles of Yuho. So, I mean, not the worst thing you could do. And so I drink a lot of sake. Actually, the thing I've liked about Tipsy is that I can get a lot of sake that's not available in my pretty limited market. And so that has allowed me to kind of delve into different rices and different techniques. So because I'm trying to kind of research a lot of stuff ahead of time. We're going to release 2 styles in the market when we launch, probably around October 1st. And so we'll have a filtered, clean kind of Junmai style and a nigori. And then, but we'll have a tap room as part of our brewery. So I actually ordered smaller tanks just for the tap room. So it's kind of a playground for me. And so I am filling a notebook with things that I want to do, like Yamaha and Kimoto, some stuff with local ingredients that isn't very traditional. So I kind of like to keep one foot in Japan and one foot here. So I love traditional sake styles and, more typical Japanese expressions. And so we'll brew some of those. But then there's some other stuff I like to do, like maple water sake and things like that.
I was gonna
So
ask
we're gonna
about the
do
maple
both.
water sake.
Yeah, it's coming. We've had so many people ask about it, and actually the owner of the Maple Water Company reached out to me when I did some crowdfunding. She put in some money, and then she was really supportive. But they actually have a way better way of getting the maple water to me now. When I was at my previous sake brewery, we brewed maple water sake, which meant we had to empty about 500 1-liter Tetra Paks. Which was infuriatingly slow. So John's doing the math. I'm watching John Gottner do math on how big my batch is. So they were 700-liter tanks, and so we emptied about 500 1-liter maple water things. So now they have a way to get me maple water in larger amounts. So it's actually the first thing I'm going to brew that's not our 2 core styles. Pretty exciting.
Thank you, Todo-san. So for those of you who need to reach him, he's in Massachusetts. He's been in the industry forever. He had like Boston sake, and of course, homebrewing is illegal in Japan, but it's not illegal here. So there's a lot of room for experimentation. That's why Nathan Kelly's been brewing at home and setting up Josh, who I think is kind of busy. He's looking at us, but he might be busy. So we can call on you later if you want. It's up to you. Just give me a thumbs up if do you want to speak right now? Nah. Oh, thumbs up. Okay. Unmute yourself and tell us how you're
the only reason I'm jumping in is because I really don't have much to say. I've been enjoying listening to the stories of everyone else. It's been great to hear everyone talk about sake and talk about what a great night everyone is having for Miho. So thank you. I hope Kim has more to say than I do. Honestly, I'm drinking a bunch of Kim sake cocktails lately. If you're asking what I'm drinking these days.
All right, so Josh Hembry is the owner of Setting Sun Sake that's been around for a while. They brew sake in San Diego. They're introducing it to the heavy metal demographic, which is very different. And their sake has a lot of soul, just like heavy metal. And I happen to be there doing like a heavy metal, I don't know, convention. And I saw people in, black leather, like outfits, enjoying sake for the first time from the tap. And it with like Satan stuff. And
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun. It was amazing. So if you're in San Diego, visit them. Kim, who is also on there, but she's working hard because the tap room's still open. She
Yeah.
does amazing cocktails with them. Of course, they have an amazing beer brewing community there, like world famous. So they have a lot of respect from there. There's many different regions.
Coming from the beer industry, I've got tons of people that are excited for what we're doing, and I love showcasing sake for people who aren't familiar with it. Like you said, you showed up during our heavy metal swap meet that we do every year, and there was hundreds of people dressed in black that just were never had the opportunity to be exposed to sake, but because we do that event. We're taking sake places that maybe it's never been, maybe it shouldn't be, I don't know, but I like taking it there. We're also hosting Sake Day in San Diego this year again, and very excited about that at the Japanese Friendship Garden. So I love being the standard bearer, the champion of sake here in San Diego.
It's amazing. I was going to take a break every hour because I have this scheduled for 3 hours and do a stretch break. But I feel like the magnitude of people that have joined is pretty amazing and I don't want to miss out. So I think I'll just keep going, but you are free to do an Irish goodbye or say goodbye in the chat. Amazing people have joined. Monica Samuels has kicked this off. Bo Timken has spoken from True Sake along with May, who runs the place basically. John Gottner has pitched in his 2 cents from Japan and many others. Rai, who is the publisher or he's basically behind Sake Today, the only English published magazine. And then I see Yoko-san from Umami Mart. Amazing. I know they had their sake club tonight, so they've been very busy. There's other people that were busy tonight that wanted to join, of course. Like the Sake Brewers Association of North America, they actually have their board meeting tonight. So they're like, we're really interested, but we'll join you next time. And this is part of many conversations that's going to happen because it's not just about Yuho, of course. That was just the kikake. That was just what really pushed me over the edge to want to do this. And it's something that I've wanted to do since the pandemic. And there's also Rob from WSET, who's the educator of educators from North Carolina.
Pittsburgh.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, he's back in his paradise.
Yeah. So should we hear from Umami Mart and see how they're doing, what the climate has been during the pandemic, how we can support their amazing efforts and what they do, because I think they do a good job of not just making sake and Japanese things and shochu a fad. They do a good job of actually like speaking to the soul and making it like a lifetime friend. And I need to learn how to do that because I can't just make sake, something cool to buy for the millennials for the moment. And then if it's not going to stick, I'm not doing my job right. So I would love to hear from you. And if you could just tell us how you do the things that you do and how we can support you.
Okay. That's so nice. Thank you. I'm so glad I made it. I rushed home and I turned on my Zoom and it's nice to see everybody. I think that, Umami Mart, and I mean, to your question, it's really one customer at a time. And we've been so lucky that Oakland and the Bay Area has been very open to new things. And we've had our store since online since 2010 and then physically since 2012. So almost 10 years, which is really exciting, physically. And I think to your question about how do you speak to people, not just, as like a passing trend. I mean, I think it's because we are always passionate about every product, and we taste every single product. We try every single product. And so we're really picky. But we also don't get exposed to everything. So, I think that we have certain avenues that we get exposed to things. Our club is huge. I mean, we started, I mean, not huge as in like so many people. I mean, it is now, it's 250 people, which is nice, but we started out with like 20, when we launched. The pandemic has really increased the membership because people are engaged online at home. They want sakes delivered. They want guidance. So that's been really nice to have that audience online. But that said, the in-person membership grew as well during the pandemic, because they had been to the store, or they know about us. But I think that Umami Mart has always been first and foremost about content. So we started out as a food blog in 2007. So we weren't selling anything, and it was just me and Kayoko, and I was living in Tokyo and she was living in New York, and we were just blogging about things we liked. And that continues. We do recipes and we talk about things we like, and we might not be selling it. We might be. But it's always important for us to have the content that goes along with what we're talking about. And I think that opening back up the store this month, it's been really nice because we know, I mean, I probably know 70% of the people who come through the door. I know their names, and I know everything about them, like their kids, and and it's nice that community is really important to Umami Mart. And I really do not take those 7 years for granted, because I know, I know which bottle they like. I know what kind of just parties they might be attending, or so, things like that. So that's important to us.
That is amazing. And I know you have like private like brewery tours and opportunities to connect during this pandemic with your members. What can we do to support your business, which is a small minority-owned business based in Oakland, California, that also ships to many, many states? You also carry shochu, which is exquisite. You have a shochu club. What's the best way to support you? Do we just follow you and I don't know, what do we do? And then Monica's
Thank you.
By the way, sorry, she's a trooper, and she probably had a 12-hour workday before she joined us. She said she was ready for a drink, but she's clearly not as drunk as I am, and she's got to go. And I thank you so much for kicking this off. You're amazing as always. We have no idea how much you do. I know it's like way more than what you make it look like, because you always do it with a smile. So thank you so much for joining us, Monica-san. You're amazing.
Well, I'm smiling because of you and because of everyone on here. It's really great to be part of this great family. So much love to you all, and I will not interrupt anymore and get back to everyone sharing how awesome they are. But thank you, Sachiko, and everyone have a great night.
Please go feed yourself.
All right, good night, everyone.
Kanpai. And sorry, let's go back to Yoko-san. I don't know if she was done. Oh, she's muted.
Oh yeah, okay. Okay, here I am. So yeah, ways to support us. That's nice of you to ask. For sure, you can follow us on Instagram. You can join our newsletter, which is something that Kayoko and I work on and derive a lot of joy out of. Every week we do a topic or release a recipe or talk about things. So you can always join our newsletter, and that's online. You could read our blog.
And buy stuff like
Yeah, yeah.
like adorable goods and shochu and sake and gift cards, and they've got everything.
Yeah, and your point about shochu, I'm mainly on the sake side, and then Kayoko is doing a lot of the spirits in the shochu. But shochu is really exciting too. It's something that is definitely, you know, we scratched the surface, and now it's you can tell just by the inquiries out of state. I think there were very little maybe 2 years ago, and now it's there for sure. So we're trying to work with as many importers and distributors to get product over here, because it has been really challenging to get shochu. Besides your regular, you know, like kannoko or kuro kirishima, it's just it's like, yeah, it's like pulling teeth, because there's so much in Japan, but it's not coming here. So that's part of our mission too. But a lot of us at Umami Mart are very passionate about the shochu as well.
So that's how we can support them as industry geeks. Let's figure out how to get amazing shochu to Umami Mart so they can spread the love of shochu to everyone else. I see a lot more people that I haven't even gotten through all the people that have been here since 6:30 Pacific time. I see Victor from Hawaii. Aloha. And of course, I've been wanting to hear from Russell King, who's chilling with his dog in the background. Tamiko-san has joined, a director of R&DC and Young's, somebody that I was really intimidated by when I worked at a brewery in Seattle, and I wrote about that in the blog that's going to get posted soon. Mei-chan is driving home and listening because she's so freaking dedicated. And I also see like people that I'm not sure that I know, like Jay Nad. There's a couple chilling outside with a beautiful background. Do you want to say hi to us and tell us who you are? I don't know. Have I met you before? And what are you drinking?
We're drinking this, of course.
God. How are you?
Yeah.
Where are you? It's beautiful
Good.
there.
We're in Los Angeles, and we support Tsubaki no Toto. And I know they're doing a special dinner out, I think at Terra in Century City.
Amazing.
But,
you emailed me. Are you Patricia?
Yes, I'm Patricia.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Patricia, thank you so much for joining us. It's beautiful where you are. It's
We're
getting
in Los Feliz. We're just happy sake drinkers.
Yes.
Yeah, Los Feliz is very, very cute. And they're chilling with their sake from Ototo. Courtney, that used to be in New York, runs that program, and she has amazing, exquisite sake.
Yes.
Patricia is so dedicated. She joined this Zoom, and I didn't get a chance to invite Courtney, but maybe next time we can poke her intel and get all the passion, because she's pretty darn amazing. And Taka-san is here from Takahiro too. It was what Dilla is saying. But what has your experience, Patricia, been with Yuho? Why are you so passionate about Yuho? Like, what makes it special? I know that you had it at Ototo.
Well, it was one of the first sake that we had at Ototo, because they do this they would do this weekly sake club, I guess, before sake school, before the pandemic. And we tried the Yuho, the Eternal Embers, was one of the first sake that we tried at our first sake school at their bar. And I just loved it because it's so versatile with food, and I feel like the flavor just lingers forever on your tongue. And since then we've bought multiple bottles to just have at home. In fact, we just had this in our wine refrigerator just for any occasion. And you can pretty much eat it with almost anything, and it just is absolutely delicious. I think sake is such a versatile drink to pair with food.
It is super, super versatile. That's amazing. Kanpai to you. Thank you.
Kanpai.
Yes.
Cheers.
Yeah, I love where you are. Must be your home. Oh, okay. And Soma's saying, Soma from Seattle. Do you know this badass soba chef from Seattle? She has an amazing t-shirt. Show us your t-shirt. Drink sake, stay soba. Showing us her tits. Do you want to say hi to us, Soma? And tell us what you're doing. Like you have a soba restaurant called Kamonegi.
Kamonegi.
Yeah, but you also have Hanyato, which does retail, and you you do pickups, you do clubs, like subscription type of thing. You have amazing Kwan, who is studies wine and sake. You have you always have very passionate, tight crew, and you always are breaking the, what do you call it? You think outside the box. You're, food and wine featured chef. I don't know what I'm saying. So what are you drinking? What is your day like? Did you cut your hair? Because it looks short.
Finally.
Oh yeah, it looks nice.
Thank you.
All right. So you're working today. Are you working?
Yeah, we sold so much UFO like right now. Yeah.
Right now, is it like coincidence or how did that happen?
No, we feature UFO for hot sake. Seattle nighttime is still cold, so people want hot sake. UFO is big hit.
It's a big hit.
Big hit. Because full of flavor. Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to warm it up. I just love it room temperature so much. But what's your best food pairing that, now that we're talking to a badass chef?
Top selling right now with UFO is chicken skin chicharron. Deep fried chicken skin, like crisp, and put shichimi and secret yakitori sauce, tossed, like sweet and fatty and crispy. Perfect with UFO.
Very nice. Very nice. So anytime you're in Seattle, you got to go to a tiny soba place. And if you live in Seattle for New Year's, you reserve your little soba because she makes soba every single day. And of course, soba, sushi, and tempura, those are all culinary in the era. And she's kind of a geek when it comes to like history stuff. And she learned how to make soba originally from your grandma, right? Or maybe you didn't learn it, but like that was a big thing, kind of exploring soba making.
Yeah.
You're just like the brewers because you probably have, it's been a long time since you've developed arthritis. Making soba, you continue to do it, I don't know, 10 years later. And it's just crazy. Dilla wants to go there for sure. She's gonna bring her ishobing. Maybe not. I'm not sure. But how can
I
we?
will send one from Chicago straight to there so I can meet my Ishobin
Yeah.
when I land.
Ishobin party is the way to go, everyone.
What you don't
Sounds good.
Yeah, we all need to connect, support everybody. It can only do great things. There's more people I want to hear from, but Soma-san, what's the best way to support you? Just buy from you? Is there any exposure things we can do? Or how can we support small businesses that are also supporting small businesses in Japan? Like, what's the best way?
I think, like everything that people have been saying, just drink more sake, get people to know more about it, represent our brand. We're a full women-owned business now, so we're super proud of that. And just being part of the community still. I mean, we just opened back up like 3 months ago. So just more words, more drinking.
Right now, right? And trying to, like, Soma has made this initiative, like really trying to make sure her employees are taken care of. She's not just opening just to make money, like so she can survive, but she wants to be clear and make sure that there's fair attention given to restaurant workers during this pandemic, because, you know, we can't ignore that to be safe. And that's very honorable. And Hanyato and Kamonegi is a place to go in Seattle. There's also Sake Nomi that's been around for 13 plus years, probably, maybe 15. What's your Instagram handle? What's the best way to follow you? I get that from Dylan.
It's so hard to spell Hanyato.
Hanyato.
Hayy something. I can't spell.
Yeah, I spelled it. I spelled it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Also, like Sachiko, you should educate people for more hot sake.
ね、わかります。Yeah, I need to educate myself about hot sake, but yeah, hot sake is definitely like a secret weapon, not so secret weapon of sake. Warming it up just changes the impression completely. And you can't do that with other beverages where you reveal the side of it. And Todd Bellamy is pouring himself something. Show us what you're pouring. What is it? Eh? Oh, I can't hear you. Ah, Kurosawa Kimoto ne. Nice. Nagano. Very, very nice. I also see Tamiko-san joining us. Thank you so much. You always have a very lovely background from your home. And Tamiko-san has had personal experiences with Miho-san at Miyoya. So could we hear from her? And then of course, like if you're itching to speak and I haven't pointed the mic at you, please like do the raise your hand thing because I can't keep up. This is an overwhelming amount of support. And I'm not doing a good job of emceeing. I'm probably slowing down because I'm drinking and enjoying myself. And Victor has his lovely, beautiful baby from Hawaii that he's holding up. Omedetou gozaimasu. That's his second child. And working, I know he already talked to Monica-san about getting Yuho in Hawaii so they can feature it at sake shop and other restaurants. So there's a lot of industry people working here. But anyway.
Yeah, it's still early here, so I'm still working.
What time is it? 5. It's 5.
It's just about 5.
Almost 5. All right, work hard, work hard. Tamiko-san, could we hear from you and like your personal experience with Miho-san and how like I'd just love to hear from you because I've met Miho-san through Zoom, but I know that's very different from the kind of history that you have with her.
Oh, Sachiko-san, first of all, I think you're doing a great job. So yeah, no worries. And if you're here, you can start handing off the microphone for those who raise hands. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. I have so much to say about Miho-san, Miho Fujita. Lots of time together since she actually, from her previous importer to current, which is Vine Connections. I have known her for 15 years now. Oh my gosh. No, actually more like 12. Yeah. Anyways, I'm a big fan, like many of you are. Lots of stories to tell. It's probably one of the best story is those of you who know Miho-san, like she is fun to drink with. I mean, really fun to drink with. And but please be careful drinking with her and Yokomichi-san. So I tell you, one of the I was on the Vine Connections like a brewery tour trip. And we visited Miho-san. We had a nice French, like a farm to table, like a Japanese French cuisine and Yuho pairing. It was an amazing evening. We went out afterwards. I have a pretty deep tank, those of you who know me, but I was so wasted. I actually ended up losing my cell phone that night. And the rest of the trip for 1 week, I had no cell phone in Japan. But guess what? It was probably one of the best things that happened because nobody could contact me. I had a map in my hand. I rented a bicycle in Kyoto, and I had a physical map in my hand, and it was actually the best time. But anyways, so watch out going out or drinking with Miho-san. And those of you who have heard Junmai, one more thing I wanted to share, Sachiko-san, is one of my best. The yuho is so fun to pair with food. Everyone agrees. The one of the best thing that I have experienced is when I totally forgot that this sake was open and it was in the kitchen counter for like 4 months, just sitting out. And I was like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about this yuho being out on the kitchen counter for 4 months, 5 months. I opened it and then I tasted it. Oh my gosh. And I happened to be making, you know what the nebanira is? Nebanira? Those of you? Yes. Japanese love liver. Yeah. And so it's a sauteed chicken liver and chive and garlic. That is just a classic nebanira. Japanese love it. It's a good sake food. Anyways, 4 months open, the room temperature aged, not aged, but matured yuho junmai and nebanira is thumbs up. So please do try.
An amazing amount of magnesium and like, yeah, iron, good for iron intake.
For women especially.
Yes. Amazing. So Dira-san, I have to ask you, Taka-san, do I know Taka-san?
She is from Domain Taka.
Seriously?
ねえ、最初からいたね。はい。あ、こんにちは、タカさん。
こんにちは。
はい、もういますね。はい、こんにちは。
Oh my God, that's what you've been saying. I had no idea that it was maybe like a restaurant owner store in America. Oh my God, you guys, this is like an owner and Taka from Japan. はじめまして。宮城幸子と申します。
Hello.
ドキドキしますね。
素晴らしい。すいません。なんか、日本の午前中のこんな時間に、私たち、英語の方がいいんですかね。英語で、はい。Sorry, I'm just so starstruck. Anybody have the bottle to show people? This is Taka-san from Taka, the brand.
I have it. Let me pull it out, okay?
Oh my God, you guys, this is a maker.
Yeah.
And どこだっけ？山口のタカさんですよ。ドメインタカのタカさんですよ、皆さん。This is Domain Taka's Taka-san just joining us this conversation, which is amazing. タカさん。
イアンが持ってる。
Ian, look, everybody look at Ian.
That's his nama.
Oh my God, look at that nama.
持ってるよ。
持ってる。
生酒よ。
Oh, he has a namazake. Did you get that from
Thank you very much, everyone.
We just
Oh, Nakano-san has the cup sake from Tokyo. Amazing. Oh my God. Dilla's
we just featured it for Nama Fest tonight.
Okay, so Umami Mart. They featured the Nama Fest, the beautiful Taka bottle.
100人ぐらいのメンバーが今日この生酒をいただきました。
素晴らしいです。
Thank you very much.
タミコさんのおかげで、まあみんなのおかげで、でもタミコさんもshe helped. Tamiko-san really helped us bring all that over. So our members were super happy. It was amazing.
Oh, Monica brought it over. I just delivered it to you.
So Dira-san has been private messaging me. Taka-san is here. Taka-san is here. Taka-san is here. I had no fucking clue what was going on until now. And could we hear from you, please? A maker from Japan. タカさん、どうぞアンミュートして、何でも言ってください。これは、オペレーション UFO って、it's called Operation UFO because I was inspired by a small little side talk with Fujita Miho from Mio Ishizo, but we'd love to hear from you. I mean, we don't want to be a downer, but the pandemic has had an impact in the sake making industry. That's what we want to hear. We don't want any sugar-coated, like humble talk. We want real talk. We want to know how to support you, how many cases we need to sell in the United States to make you go back to where you were. And how are you doing generally? What are you? I guess you're not drinking because it's AM. タカさんの蔵は2020年はすごく大変だったとは思うんですけど、どんな年でしたか？アメリカで今so in Japan they're told not to drink right now, exactly right now. How can we help you other than just buying your product? What can we do to support you and your efforts? 日本語でも全然大丈夫です。
まあでも、こういう機会をいただければ、もう本当に全然 OK です。
He's saying any kind of exposure such as this opportunity is helpful. What is on the background? バックグラウンドに、それは稲穂をそういうふうにデザインで、買ってもらったんですか？ 2021. So this is from this year? これ今年のですか？21年用に、去年の、秋、今年？
今年の春。This April.
写真もインスタグラムでありますね。
インスタグラムであるんですね。
インスタグラムで見ました。
Amazing. So they're in Yamaguchi, which is the southern tip of Honshu, and they're known for domain. So there's, really focusing on the land. I almost don't want to say terroir because, every maker has a different way. You guys gotta help me. I don't have enough exposure to Taka-san to do him justice.
Yeah, there is a lot of limestone where the brewery is.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Illa's hosting right now. I gotta go to the bathroom anyway.
いやできないね。でもブリービルのところでたくさんのライムストーンがありますね。Yeah, the story that I know of is that Taka-san went to a friend and he was a fan of Chablis, that he really enjoyed Chablis Chardonnay, and he traveled and studied in France all about wine in general, and then he is the 4th generation brewer. So,
Yes,
and then
yes, exactly.
he took over the brewery from his family, and he has been brewing since then. So Noble Arrow, that which I'm drinking right now, is actually so Chablis alike, and since after my 5th time tasting with Monica-san, she was like, do you get a little bit of mint? And I was like, that was what I could not place, So this is something that drinks so wine alike, 100%. And I think that this is one of the goals that Taka-san is going for too, which this sake is an absolute pairing to any type of cuisine that I can totally go for. And there's some mint, some herbaceousness to it, but it's really bright also itself. So if anybody ever tells me hey, I do like Pinot Grigio, but I like Sancerre too, but I like, Chardonnay too. I'm like, you like white wine overall. And I'm like, let's hit all of those. Let's have a little bit of dryness from what the Pinot Grigio will give us, and that beautiful layered Chardonnay Chablis grape, and let's just try this bright, beautiful, a almost New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. So what I find in this bottle is mind-blowing each time, and this is the bottle that I feel so confident going to like a very well-established wine shops with, you know. I'm like, hey, I do have something for you, because I know the buyer there will appreciate it more than anyone else. And the story is like so connecting to, and that makes so much sense that, yeah, so we just put another big order for Illinois because last week we ran out. We're doing really good over here. So next is like other states for me, at least, I would say.
Thank you.
ありがとうございます。
Thank you.
あ、もちろん
すごい、
任せです。
ディラさん。
ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。
Taka-san, seriously, this whole group is about supporting people like you. You have to tell us what to do. This is the time to let us know what to do other than to buy your sake. なんか、お酒がかっこいいからとか、パンデミック中になんか買うのが楽しいからとか、その一時的なアテンションだけじゃ意味がないと思うんですよ。根強いそのスペシャルなタカみたいなブランドをどういうふうに紹介してったら、一番その倉本さんになんだろう、影響があるというか、いい影響があるかなと思って、なんか無駄なことはしたくないし、急に売れてもなんか旗迷惑なのかもしれないしっていう思いが私たちにはあって、根強い長くなんだろう続くような本当なんか蔵の魅力とかを伝えるには何が一番いいんでしょうかね。
いや、でも本当に、こうやって世界の人とズームでつながれるっていうことが、本当こうやってわかるので、いや、もう私たちは、なんていうかわざわざアメリカにこう行ってツアーをしなくても、こういうね、ズームで蔵をこうお見せしたりとか、いろいろできるんだから、まあ本当にこういう企画をやっていただくことが、まあ最大の、応援だと思いますんで、もう本当にすごくいいと思います。
That's great, you guys. So they say that, because this is really special for them because they don't have to travel. I mean, it takes time out of their days, weeks, and money and effort and investment. But with Zoom, they can just hop on and show you where they are, their voices, their true voices, and things like that. So they say, right now during this pandemic, this connection that they can have with the industry people, consumers is really helpful. But I have to say, from watching you, Taka-san, you're one of the very, your brain is really flexible, even though you're Japanese. You are like more outside of the box than an American in a way. You defy, like, you're not traditional. Non-traditional で、なんかタカさんはその傍から見ている私から見ても、トラディショナルなであるその酒蔵であるかもしれないけれども、そのすごくオープンマインデッドなんですよ。その懐が深いんですよね。
ありがとうございます。
世界の人からのなんか見当違いななんか思いとかも全部受け止めてくれるようなその懐が深いので、そのワイドオーディエンスがすごく親しみを持てるようなスタンスがあるのが私たちにとってはすごくスペシャルで、そのやっぱり日本人はみんなお堅いんですよ。Everybody in Japan so they're so proper and they're adorable, but like there's only so much you can read into it. And when you have somebody like Taka-san who's willing to pop into a Zoom where he doesn't know, right? He doesn't know us. He doesn't know every one of us. Maybe he sees some familiar faces, but he's willing to spend that time and effort into knowing us, who is like a foreigner to him. And this is amazing. Thank you so much for joining, and please do not hesitate to unmute yourself and speak up, because unless Dilla was messaging me like 5 times, I would not have been like, タカさんって誰感じだったんですよ。本当わかんなくて、申し訳ありませんでした。なんか失礼なことして。
でも、ドメインを変えたから、どこかのレストランだと思いましたね。ドメインばかりの。
I thought it was a restaurant in America. I was like, there must be some really, really cool person that has a restaurant somewhere. And it's like, oh my God, it's amazing.
Truly, Sachiko-san, Taka-san is a celebrity. Yeah. Quite an honor to having Taka-san.
You are a celebrity, ne?
本当。So the Taka-san's, yes, the Dilla-san explained worked at the Pakale in Burgundy. But I really don't. Sometimes I do. I know I like the reference that made in a very positive way to wine. But it's of its own. And Taka-san explained to me about his water too, which I have not had an opportunity to feel it or taste it yet. But I heard that his water source is such in Yamaguchi that it is so hard. It's harder than Nada ですよね、Taka-san. Nada のちょっとしたぐらいでしたっけ？Yeah, very close to like Nada, like super hard, known for super hard water. So the minerality that comes through in his sake is incredible.
That weird thing, the weird cave thing with the limestone. なんだっけ？ Karst. The karst. なんか洞窟みたいなところのね。
Yes, yes.
それなんかマイケル・トレンブレーのクラスで習ったんです。We learned it in Michael Tremblay's scholar class. 洞窟のやつ。That's the amazing water that they use.
Yeah, and Dilla mentioned about the herbaceousness. When you pair like taka with food, anything like even like a chimichurri, or even just the sashimi, or like a tarako pasta, but you sprinkle a little herb like shiso. Oh, it just then suddenly become that's 100% beautiful.
One of my favorite ones has been the Vietnamese spring rolls with the mint in it.
I can totally see that. Yes.
I totally took a note of the tarako no pasta.
Crazy.
So
Mei-chan is home now. She was driving. She was at work. She's been with us the whole time. What are you drinking now, Mei-chan, from True Sake?
Okay, so I have to use my laptop for the camera and then my phone for the mic.
Figured it out.
Here, let me see if I can take you guys to my fridge.
Oh, she has a fridge. Also, if you haven't noticed, Timothy Sullivan, another sake samurai, has joined us from New York. He's also had a long day.
So we just got this in this week, and I've been playing with it. It's Kikusui Funaguchi in a pouch, and it comes with a little spout.
Aww.
And it's been very dangerous.
How many liters? How many liters?
1.5 liters.
Nice.
So I've been playing with that, and yeah.
You keep it in the fridge?
Yeah, you just keep it in the fridge, and you just drink whenever you want it.
I know. I've been wanting to have try their sparkling that they got in trouble from the Japanese government on, because Kikusui Funaguchi has a sparkling now that's 500 milliliter, and because it's 19% and sparkling, it kind of gets people drunk really fast. And we're told by the Japanese government, like, hey, you gotta like control this because people are getting drunk in public. Kind of an issue right now during the pandemic. But is that what you're drinking?
Yes, it's 19%, so I only pour myself a little bit.
Aww. Well,
but it's dangerous because it's addicting, because it's in your fridge and it's super convenient, and it keeps it chilled. And we just started carrying it this week, and it's just been really dangerous in a good way. But
Sugoi. Sugoi. And Kurisu-san is from Sake, True Sake too, right? Hi, thanks for joining us. So True Sake team is strong. It's always been strong. They've been around for 20 years. Yuho, both Yuho, the ones that I can't get because it's sold out, but we're getting some more according to Monica-san at Vine Connections in May. So get ready. Robo-san has turned off his camera. I've been wanting to hear from him as an educator to educators, but maybe I will turn it over to Timothy Sullivan from urbansake.com, teacher to everyone, the most calming voice that I have turned to at Sake Revolution podcast, and an amazing supporter to anybody in the industry. Like, is amazing. And Tim-san, if you haven't noticed, Taka-san.
あります、上がります、上がります。ごめんね。Thank you very much, everyone.
Oh my god.
Hi.
So much.
ありがとうございました。
And I was like, Dida-san had to tell me like 5 times through chat that he was here, and I didn't understand what Taka-san. I was like, Taka-san is here. It's like, I don't know what you mean. And that's how it's been. But we've had conversations, you know, Monica Samuels kicked it off by giving us an overview of how amazing Miho Fujita is, who has created Yuho, and just the background story. John Gottner has pitched in from Japan and has told us a little bit about what's going on in Japan. Bo Timken, before he closed True Sake for the night with Mei-chan, has said a few words about how business has been, and you know, how to support them through the pandemic. Yoko-san from Umami Mart has also joined us after their sake club. I think the situation is getting much dire in Japan, which is very, very concerning. It's already been like this for about a year. It's been a terrible year for sales in America in 2020, and we do have hope that it's recovering, but I'd love to hear like specifically how Hakkai-san's doing, and also like you being so involved in the New York market. What can we do? Like, where does it hit the spots like the most? How can we help? And how can we help in a way that our efforts aren't wasted? It's not just a fad, and it's going to be like this long lasting effect on the market. Like, what are your thoughts? Do you have any thoughts? Like,
yeah, well, it's a big challenge. I mean, it's something that I think we all want, is for us to be able to do something to contribute and make a real difference quickly. But we have to remember that the US market is a small percentage of the market for the bottom line of Japanese sake brewers. So I think we can, from our point of view here overseas, I think we can do our best to help promote sake, buy sake, get other people introduced to sake. But the bottom line for the brewers in Japan, I think, is a lot more tied to the domestic market, realistically. One thing that I've tried to do personally, John Puma and I have the Sake Revolution podcast, and we actually have recorded episodes in the can with Yuho and Taka-san. Both of them, we've recorded episodes to promote their sake. They haven't been published yet, and they're scheduled for later this year. But I think that from my point of view, what I try to do to make a difference as best I can is to talk to people about sake, get people interested in sake. And it seems like just a little thing, but I really do believe that doing some small promotion again and again and again can help move the mountain in the long run. And the most important thing I can think of at this point when it looks really dire is to keep a long-term view. and know that I don't think there's one magic bullet. There's not one thing we can all do to turn the situation around immediately. It's going to be a million small steps towards achieving our goal of getting the industry more healthy again. So I think it's really important to take a long-term view of trying to reestablish the health of the market. In New York, they just announced that that the curfew, the late night curfew is stopping. So they're going to have late night dining again up until 4 a.m. as it used to be. And there's new mask regulations for if you're vaccinated. There's new regulations for when you need to wear a mask when you're out and about. So things are starting to change more fundamentally here in New York. And I think over the next 3 to 6 months, we'll see a real pickup in the market. And I think that I've seen many people posting on Facebook looking for restaurant staff. So many restaurant owners are like, I'm hiring servers, I'm hiring cooks. Do you know anybody who's looking for work right now? So I'm hopeful that if people can hang on a little bit longer, speaking from the New York point of view, that the restaurant and sake industries are going to start coming back in a more substantial way in the next 3 to 6 months.
3 to 6 months is a great outlook in a way. Hopefully, I live in Long Beach, California, where all the ships that have been waiting to be unloaded are. And I look at those, a lot of mornings when I go take a walk. So we're going to have a healthier inventory, or somewhat of an inventory, more sake coming in, because I struggle with things selling out too quickly and people wanting more, because I find that the American market, there's a huge potential because everybody's really interested in it. They just need a little pointer, like what you do at urbansake.com, to like show little tips and like little nudge in the back, a little push in the back to say like, yeah, you can reach for something at the grocery store and take it home and enjoy it. Like, these are different ways to enjoy it. And like, I think what I'm hearing from you is that selling sake and is a very grassroots kind of thing. There is no shortcut. You have to just convert people one by one. But at the same time, I find that it's super encouraging. It's just a supportive industry. And as much as there's so many barriers with the 3-tiered system and dealing with importers and shipments and having so many layers before we reach the maker's voice, there's people like Taka-san who would just join us through, like, he must have seen it through Facebook or something. I don't know. I'm not friends with him on Facebook. Maybe you are. Maybe he saw it through you. I have no idea. But that kind of connection is really amazing. And hopefully this speaks to people that was in the room who got to, from the little that he told us, because they say they're not humble, but they're like 1,000 times more humble than like I am. And they don't, they say very little for what they do. So,
yeah, I mean, his comment was, anything you can do to promote sake is appreciated. Like, that was basically what the nugget he gave us. And I really take that to heart, whether it's on my podcast or on my website, or when I'm out and about visiting Japanese restaurants. I really take that to heart. And again, I think it's the small steps we can take to introduce more and more people to sake, promote it as best we can, given the circumstances we're in. And another thing I want to say is that it's really important to keep a positive outlook. It's really hard to get down in the dumps and look at the negative and feel overwhelmed by the situation we've all been in for the last year. And to think that, the catchword I've been using in my mind is roaring 20s. After the 1918 pandemic, we had the roaring 20s, and there was this amazing burst of cultural and economic activity that happened in the 1920s. And I think potentially we're positioned for a second roaring 20s to happen as everybody rebounds from this difficult situation we're in. So I try to keep focused on the potential for a positive outcome, again, in the long term. We can't look at the next 6 weeks or the next 30 days. It's really important to keep focused. If people can hang on a little bit longer, to keep in mind that there's tremendous potential for growth and expansion just a little bit down the road, 6 months, 1 year, year and a half. And I choose to spend my time focusing on that idea that if we can all hang in there, help each other as best we can in the short term, there's a tremendous opportunity for expansion and growth of the sake industry for the 2020s.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So how can we, I know you have many different efforts. You wear many hats doing, representing Hakkai-san, but also doing the America's first sake podcast, the Sake Revolution with John Puma, and also being the founder of urbansake.com. You're also an instructor that teaches certifications for Kikizakeshi and other things at Sake School of America. How can we best support your efforts so that you can just fly and shine and do everything that is in your dreams to achieve? Because what is the best way to support what you are doing? Where can we put in the effort to, like, are we missing anything? I know we all follow you and things like that, but what can we do?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I really feel like everyone has their own path to promote sake. I'm not looking, of course, I want everyone to follow me and listen to my podcast, but I think everyone on this call has their own audience to speak to in their social networks, in their businesses, in their neighborhoods, in their churches and communities. And I think that if we all make an effort to keep the eye on the prize of expanding the sake industry in our networks, that's really where the value comes in. If everyone takes some step in their own lives to get sake out there, spread the word, introduce a friend, take a friend drinking, and introduce them to sake, sign them up for the Sake Revolution podcast. I think that, it's everybody contributing together is really the way to go. It's a very, very multi-pronged approach to get everybody contributing in their own sphere, in their own network, that I think will bring the most value to it.
It's very, very inclusive, not in like the Amway pyramid way, but almost, you want to inspire other people to be like you, basically, to be an influence themselves, and you believe in other people, which is amazing.
Well, I know that for me, my passion and my journey with sake started with one sip. Like someone said that a moment ago, like you can win somebody over with one sip of sake. And that was very much the case for me. And if more and more people have that aha moment, that experience where they become a true zealot, a true passionate person about sake like I am, then that's the type of person we need on the ground in every neighborhood in the country. Not just in the big cities, not just in the centers where we have the most distribution of sake, but we need demand to grow across the country. And I think that people talking to their neighbors, talking to their friends, talking to their social network, that's the way to make that happen. It's
about that personal connection with sake.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's that really speaks to me, and I think to a lot of people too. So Tamiko-san has her hands up, hand up. So I'm gonna call on her. She can take the floor.
First of all, Tim-san, I listen to your podcast regularly, really enjoy it. Yay. What I wanted to say is, to your point, you know, the export is still such small percentage point of the total sake sold or made, and the true tide change really needs to happen in Japan, to your point. And I'm just thinking how, you know, you heard of the word gyakuyunyu. Gyakuyunyu means like something came from one place to another, but then that product or idea or thing go back to where it came from. For example, gyakuyunyu, good example is, you know, in Japan, like Japanese car with the left hand wheel was one time really hot thing. Like so there is a car that was made in Japan. This is back in 80s, let's say. I'm showing my age, but and then you make a car, you have a Japanese car that's made for American market, it goes to America and it comes back to US and it's just gyakuyunyu, right? It's the same idea, is that what we are doing here in America, we have so much going on. Like we are doing a lot of these, like what we are doing now. Our company has a big sake show virtually in 8 days. And then I know there's a lot of, you know, smaller events, tastings, discussions, but this is not really reaching like back home. I was wondering, what can we do to do this that has a positive effect in Japan, and people, you know, come out of jishuku, you know, those self-restraint, like, yo, I'm not drinking because I'm not supposed to, you know, it's slow to change. You all know, because you have some tie to Japan some way. It's a very country that resists change, and it's really slow to change. And so for that to really people to think and do act that it's okay to drink, and let's actually support sake by drinking. Maybe it's something we can do, something that can be actually broadcasted or reach Japanese consumers some way. I wonder if there is such a, how we can make that happen. I don't know, but the thought just came to my head. Like maybe Tim-san has some idea about that. I don't know. Not just translating this, but maybe casting back to Japan. Like it's meant for Japanese consumers.
Like a petition, like getting everybody, important people. If we have 5 sake samurai signing a petition saying people in Japan should be drinking, what are you thinking? Like, you're all wrong. Not that you're wrong, but it makes me think of what Kuji-san at Nabubijin did, you know, going on YouTube and saying, no, this is BS, you guys. You need to drink to support us. This is a beautiful product. We are going to be gone if you don't support us. And is this really what you want? It's a wake-up call. And I can't imagine it must have taken so much balls to speak up to the highest authority in Japan, who is saying don't drink, and to stand up for your community. And he did that, and he was rewarded. And like, he's truly an inspiring figure because of that. And
I so clearly remember that YouTube. It was very striking. It was really changing, defining.
Yeah, and I feel like we need that. And if people in America can, if this is what we need, we can do that. Jason Adamson has his hand up from Sake Tours, and simply just a crazy Ishobin kind of guy based in Osaka. Let's hear from you. Oh, and
thank you, Sachiko. How do I put my hand down? Oh, lower hand. Here we go. Yes, well, Sachiko, don't get it wrong. In Japan, everyone's still drinking. We're just drinking at home. Okay, we brought the sake home to us, and just because we're not allowed to drink in public anymore, it's well, yeah, no, but things aren't. I mean, yeah, things are bad, but they're not. They're not. It's not doomsday. Okay, it's we're getting by. It's all good. One thing that really in one of Simone's sessions with Taste of the Toji, so we've got this big. It's kind of like a Japan and Australia network happening now with Taste of the Toji, and it's been amazing for the last year. Every week's a different brewer, and this whole COVID thing, you know, it's brought. I think it's brought so many more people together, all us sake lovers together. But one thing, one of the Toji from Tosa, Shuzo, said, Matsumoto-san from Keigetsu, and he said that we were talking about why does he put the semi-boy on the front of the bottle and why are the bottles in English and stuff like that. And he said that if he can get more people overseas to drink sake and talk about sake and to love sake, then younger Japanese people will follow. He said, if they think that, you know, sake is cool, then they will follow. And if you think about all of our cultures, or, you know, people, when we're growing up, we don't really, you know, we hate our, not hate, but, you know, we're not interested in our own culture. We're interested in something that's happening abroad. But then it does come back, you know, and this is what Tim-san was talking about, and Tamiko-san was talking about as well. So, you know, I think just even doing this, like a big Zoom session, Sachiko, this is a perfect, you know, perfect way to help and just promote, like Tim-san said, every single little thing that you can do will in some way, you know, help that. So, yeah.
So exposure, like not just speaking to yourself with a bottle of sake, but actually sharing it with other people. Tim-san's laughing at me because my face is red and I'm almost done drinking.
No, I was laughing because I have been at home some nights talking to myself with a bottle of sake. That has happened.
Those are the moments where you develop a personal relationship with sake. So those are just as important. And I'm like an introvert and an extrovert, you know, and once I took John Gottner's class, I was like, oh, okay, I should keep talking about sake, not just when I'm drunk, but maybe when I'm sober too, to people around Boston. That's like, you know, that's what happened. But anyway, mostly industry, but also, you know, non-industry, just enjoyers of sake here. I really appreciate everyone being here. This is like a Japanese moment. Kanpai shimashou. Kanpai, Yoko-san has like a teapot, and I don't know why. I don't know if she's drinking tea or she's drinking shochu out of it, but cheers. Thank you. Todo-san has a beautiful cup, like covered in some kind of wood. Kim from Setting Sun Sake, we haven't heard from. In San Diego, Ayaka-san was here at one point too. Madoka-san, Numata-san from Okinawa, she is, I think, and Justin Potts. Sorry, I like went around, and Justin Potts is here from Japan. Should we hear from you? And also Nobu-san, you've been here forever, but I've been wanting to hear from you, the educator of educators of WSCT. Let's go to Justin first, if that's okay. And you've changed your hair a little bit.
My hair changes every day, depending on natural factors. There's no.
Well, it looks especially exquisite today.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Good.
It will likely never be repeated.
Well, that's why it's amazing. It's Ichigo Ichie kind of.
Ichigo Ichie, for sure.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I'm happy to pop in here. Lovely to see everybody.
Yeah, so John Gottner, you know, when I say John Gottner, he's like a noun in itself, right? But anyway.
Noun, verb, adjective.
Yeah. But John-san explained briefly in a touch of like what it's like to be in Japan. right now, it's like the third state of emergency that's announced. People are told not to drink. You're not allowed to purchase in some places or drink at establishments. There's a huge problem of people drinking in the public and being kind of disrespectful by like littering and all that, which I didn't know about until Numata-san, Madoka-san showed me pointed me to some articles. Like just the culture and climate is so different in Japan. And while to support the sake industry, that's where it needs to happen the most, right? In Japan, because that's what like 90 some percent of consumption and consumption meaning decline of consumption. So what can we do? Most of us are in America. Some of you are that have joined are in Japan, but what can we do to help the situation? Team Sun had this amazing talk about how to look at the long term and not to be discouraged and to focus on what's what good this is and things like that. But what are your thoughts living in Japan? Like, are you as anxious as we are hearing about it? And what do you think is like the key to helping this industry?
The key. Oh man. Where to begin? Yeah, I caught the end of Tim's chat there. Hi Tim. Nice to see you. And just that kind of what you were talking about inclusiveness and the fact that everybody can play a role. And I think that's even more important now that everyone has more of a voice, whether that's a physical voice or just some sort of a platform in order to get information out into the world. Like getting things in front of people who might not necessarily have exposure to sake on a regular basis. You can do that in some form now. And so every little action can sort of come, it all piles on itself, and it's sort of a multiplication effect, ideally, right? So everybody's role is crucial, and just the sake industry as well, just for a long time, it's been relatively segmented as far as professional roles. And so a lot of the roles that you see in other food and beverage industries where there are very, I say, jobs and positions that are aligned for many different roles, or overlapping roles, didn't necessarily exist in quite the same way. And so it's been harder for somebody who did sales is just doing sales, right? Or somebody who's making sake is just making sake, or somebody who's managing operations is strictly managing operations. And right, and those things didn't meet or cross over quite so much. And so it's harder for people who wanted to be involved in sake, but didn't necessarily want to commit their lives to brewing and hunkering down all the time, right? There's so many more other roles to play in that industry from a professional standpoint as well too. And I think that helping cultivate, I guess inclusive is a good word, an inclusive industry just for people who have different interests and skill sets, to be active and to be able to work in the industry. It's hard because those things weren't necessarily, I don't think, factored both culturally and monetarily into the system, for a long time. But now that, right, there's so much information that's happening online, people are able to be active and proactive in so many different spaces that it creates opportunities for people to create roles for themselves, if that makes sense. It might not be immediately financially viable straight off the top, but there's a lot more. I think there's just a lot more different spaces for people to demonstrate that they have a role and can play a role. And scale, I think, is kind of indifferent because a lot of small things can be incredibly powerful. You were talking earlier about, Japan, just general consumption, that being just the consumption of sake, even though yes, all of it is consumed in Japan, it's very, very small. It doesn't have the prevalence that it does compared to other beverages, and it seems to be only shrinking. And you're dealing with kind of finite numbers, right? It's a population that's going down. It's a smaller, younger population. Like, it's from a sheer numbers game perspective, like if you just look at it just how it is, like the only way to go is kind of decline to a certain degree. That being said,
To make more love, I guess.
well, exactly. So that being said, right, it's a matter of, you were talking about playing the long game. It's playing that short game and that long game at the same time. Because the nice thing is that the younger population, I don't think, has the preconceptions with the beverage or associations about the beverage that other people did in previous generations. So people are super open. Like a lot of the young people, whether they're in sake or the sake or not, like that I, come in contact with, they're just generally very open to things that will make their lives more interesting and better, and it's not even so much, I mean, sure, sake, sure, it's delicious, but there are a lot of other delicious things out there, right? So it's how, when you're talking about that sort of geku yunyu and sort of importing stuff back in, I don't think it's so much sake is delicious. I mean, sure it is, but there's a lot of other delicious stuff out there. It's sort of what role does that play in just the betterment of whether it's social interactions or your daily life or experiences that you can sort of integrate into your life. And I think there's a lot of room for that. And you're starting to see that in Japan, just a lot of really inspiring examples of that, even on a small scale, almost at like a hyper like subculture level. Like sake, it's almost not even culture in Japan. It's almost like the super tight subculture in a way. And I think that's maybe almost even better. Because if you look at anything that really develops into something really substantial, it comes from something that's really driven by something that's really, really core and has really strong core values, and I think a lot of that was maybe lost over the past, several decades or a couple of generations or so, not to anybody's fault, but just as a, this perfect storm of all these things taking place. And I think we're in actually a really amazing space where we're able to sort of cultivate the type of culture that we would like to see for the future. So it's kind of like it's on us. It's not even really it's not such dark times. It's like, what do you want it to be? We'll just do that. Like you're in a space to do that, and being able to tie that into.
This is our chance to be creative, right?
Totally. So it's
Wakaze being in France, and then like all these people in America making sake and interpreting things while still sharing like the spirit of sake, which is really genuine, and all, every heart is authentic. So I think the whole point is that we share that feeling and the appreciation for the same thing.
Yeah. So it's a matter of, right, is sake good or not good? It's how does it slot into, right, my life and my personal experience in a way that is meaningful, right? And that can be very different for lots of different people, and everybody's going to come to it at different times with different places, whether it's past experience or not just with the beverage, but just in general, whether it's dining or food or values or all these different things. Everybody's bringing something, so they're all going to be ready for something, right? At some time there's going to be a perfect encounter for that person, a perfect sake in the perfect scenario for each person. It's going to be different for everybody. So there is no, I really don't think, I think Tim kind of said something about that earlier as well too, but like that there's one perfect answer for everybody. I don't think, like, everybody's, it's just a matter of creating that opportunity
for everybody. So, yeah, it's a very personal thing.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, yeah, but is it at the same time the short game is important, because there's some folks hurting right now, for sure. And that could play out in a pretty, I guess you could say, less than ideal outcome. Maybe not immediately, but in the next few years, for sure. Particularly with the smaller producers, without a doubt. They're hurting for certain. Like there's no way around it. There are a few exceptions, but yeah, we gotta be proactive in very concrete ways at the same time, and that's really challenging, because it's nice being able to bridge with other countries and things too, but then, right, how speedily can we translate that amount of volume to something that's really tangible in a way that can hold these breweries up. That's where I think Japan really has to dig in for sure. And what does that look like? I don't know. We'll see.
Comes down to money sometimes.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I talk too much. I'll pass the baton, but
Say too much at all. I think we all crank that up. Thank you so much for your really valuable insight, Justin Potts.
No worries. No worries.
Sake podcast, Sake on Air. Yeah, and you're reporting from Chiba, desu ka?
I'm in Chiba. Yeah, I'm set up camp in Chiba. So I'm out in the country. Yeah, waves, beaches, and rice fields. That's what I got. It's not so bad. So
Amazing. Thank you so much for your insight. Again, please do feel free to unmute yourself whenever you have anything to pop in. And I think I'd love to hear from Robo-san. I keep mentioning, he's like, no, you're shaking no. I want to hear like.
You're so full of shit. I'm like the interloper here. I'm like the token.
You're the educators, and I want to hear like the educator, like education point of view.
I've just enjoyed listening to everyone else, to be honest. It's just, I can't believe how many people showed up for this festival. So such a go. Like,
I'm so
it just shows how much people respect you when you put out a call to action. People show up. So thank you. It's nice to see so many friends here and so many familiar faces and some new faces. And there was someone said earlier, it's like this is Instagram in like real life. I feel like that a lot. There's a lot of people here I've kind of lurked on their feeds for a long time and never actually engaged with. So yeah, I mean, I agree with everything everyone's saying, and it's tough, right? The last year has been an absolute shit show. Let's be honest, right? No one could have predicted it. No one could plan for it. It's not something you can put into your business plan or your P&L. It's just you roll with it in a way, and it's funny because I've worked in the booze business, in sales and distribution, in hospitality, and I've worked on all those aspects, and now I work specifically for the WSET, which is a very different angles, but we still work with everybody. We work with the JSS, we work with different groups, trade associations, and everything. So we see how everybody is hurting and how everybody is hustling and trying to kind of get by. And it's interesting. And I think there is a lot of this sense of support as well and solidarity. And I think that is really, really compelling, right? This idea that we all care and people do this because there's it's more than just making booze. It's like we care about this industry, and I think that's such an important aspect of this. And how do we get other people to care? And rightly or wrongly, the on-trade was such a massive part of sake in the US and North America in general. And I work a lot in Canada, and Canada is still an absolute shit show. Like, let's be honest, like it is still pretty much locked down and a bit of a disaster. But it's interesting, right? And it's the direct to consumer thing is the biggest opportunity for me. And I think it was Tim who touched on this. There are opportunities that will come out of this, and there are people who will think laterally, and there are people who will see and exploit and take advantage of those opportunities. And I think there are a lot of crazy laws in the 3-tier system that are now begging to be changed or tweaked in a way that ultimately provides everybody better access and better opportunity to sell their product, to buy someone's product. I think that is going to help us all immensely. And I think that Tipsy is a great example, and Trusak is a great example. You look at e-commerce, I think, and direct to consumer is massively important, particularly for us. I mean, I talk about WSET, and we've had to switch to fundamentally everything online, which is not something we're good at. We're all about, look at us, we're British, we've got cool accents, listen to us and buy our stuff. Suddenly we've got to deliver that in a digital format. It's less compelling, let's be brutally honest. And it's the bigger part of that is how do we make sure people have access to product? It was cool when I could do a class in New York or San Diego or LA or Boston or whatever, but if someone's in, whatever town, wherever, how, and they now can take a course because it's readily accessible, because it's digital. How do they get product? And I think that's where there are opportunities right now. It's like, let's open up the floodgates on commerce and trade and retail, so that we can actually get the product in the hands of anyone who wants it. And then we can provide them with the support, which is what we all do so well, right? In all of our mediums, whether we're retail, whether we're brands, whether we're, what journalism, whatever it is we do, we are here preaching from the pulpits that sake is amazing, but we got to get it in the hands of the people. And I think that's what we need to focus on now. There's an opportunity, particularly in the US, and I speak very much from a US perspective here, that there's never been a better opportunity to make sure more people have access to great sake than we're going to have coming out of this. And I think that's what we should focus on. And much like Justin said, I'm going to shut up now because I'm drinking and listening to all of you. So, but no, I think it's interesting, right? I mean, I think it's always going to be that balance of surviving and then thriving on the other side and giving ourselves room to breathe, right? It's like people underestimate the mental toll that all of this takes on people, right? We all have to pretend that we're all kind of like, no one's ever been so inside everybody else's lives ever. I've never seen so many bookcases, kitchens, artwork of everyone's, like I know everyone so fucking well. It's kind of scary. It's like, oh, you have that book on your shelf. I'm judging you now. Like we there's nowhere to hide anymore. We've shown our warts and all, but let's embrace that and let's kind of say, okay, so move on. Let's treat that as a cathartic thing, and let's see how, now that we all have a little more humanity in us, how can we use that to help small businesses, which is fundamentally what sake is driven by first and foremost. Let's focus on that. This is about supporting small businesses. This is about supporting artisanal products and something that has so much tradition and heritage. And yes, we can utilize the modern cool interpretations of that to what I think someone, Tamiko said about this before, about this idea of something's not cool till it's gone somewhere else and comes back, right? And I think there is very much a sense of that. And until you don't I remember when I was a kid, I didn't care about what my parents wanted to do or what my parents drank or what they drank. I wanted to know what other people were drinking in other parts of the world. And I think there has to be that global element to it, but it also has to be done from a position of authenticity, and to be able to articulate that in a way that's like, this is not only a great product, but this is great people. And great stories with passion and integrity, and and then it's just making the channels available, right? So then it's just like, how do we get rid of the barriers to getting product from the producer into the person's glass? And if we can focus on those things, I think we're going to win. But yeah, the next few months, that I think Tim said it well, like the next 3 to 6 months is going to be quite tough for some folks. And we have to pull together and support each other. And I'm happy to drink more to do my part. But, I think there are definitely going to be opportunities that come out of this, and we have to kind of make the most of them, capitalize on them to really make the industry thrive when we come out the other side. It's a chance to kind of reset, think about what's important. And even as WSET, we're doing this as a company. Like we're all under the microscope, right? Whether it's about how we treat our people, our assets, what are our real kind of, what's our culture as a company, what's our culture as a team. And I think everyone's having this kind of self-reflection. And I think the sake industry is going through that same thing now that everyone is doing at different levels. And it's an important thing to go through, but come out of it with a sense of purpose. And that's all, make it happen. So definitely shine up now.
Cheers to that. Thank you so much. I hear the same things that, Justin was mentioning, like it's time to be creative. And I'm just a wee person at one retail shop, and there's many hurdles about just getting the sake to people's hands. Like you say, just logistics wise, it takes us 3-4 months now to put in a special order. We don't estimate the quantity very well. We're still, trying to read our customer base and learn from them. sometimes we sell out in a day when we thought that it would last a week. And that's when I encourage everybody to go to your local sake shop anywhere. There's gonna be many places with passionate people all over America. And this is how we can make Yuho sell out from every single state that Vine Connection has. And this is where we make Monica-san work even harder than she's already been, which is kind of impossible to do. But yes, we all have the Yuho. And this is just the beginning. I just thought, you know, I was inspired by Miho-san, and the conversation just triggered me to want to do this. But this is just the beginning. We're just trying to help one brewery at a time. We know from World Sake Imports, Tamagawa needs help. Lumiko-san, who has been joining the Taste with the Toji almost every session, we could be helping her. Buy from, you know, Namazake Paul, buy from Umami Mart. We know the places where to go, True Sake and Sakaya in New York, and Sakenomi and in Seattle, and Sake Shop in Hawaii. And like, go to these small restaurants that have passionate individuals that have an amazing portfolio focusing on small restaurants or small breweries or just amazing product. And I mean, yeah, there's people like Mei-chan who at True Sake who's like doing everything and is incredibly experienced. And there's people like Dira-chan in in Chicago who isn't afraid to reach out to strangers and inspiring other people and being an influencer and putting herself out there. And there's people like Kim at Setting Sun Sake in San Diego, who is like creating a new product from a local product and introducing it to like new people. And I think we can all learn from that. And there's Eduardo from Napa who is listening in. I'm not sure. Ah, there you are. Hi. Do you want to talk to us? We haven't heard from anybody from Napa. You're like in wine life. Do you want to talk about how the pandemic has been and like how we can support efforts and things like that?
Well, yeah, I mean, the pandemic here has been detrimental for the hospitality industry more than anything. Obviously, Napa depends on visitors and wineries and restaurants and whatnot. From a sake perspective, there's been some pros and cons during the pandemic. Some of the cons have been like places like Miminashi, that was a great place for sake, had to close its doors. Also, but on the flip side, there's been a lot of attention to sake from local restaurants that are unexpected. For instance, French Laundry, one of the top places in the country and in the world, French inspired and technique by Chef Thomas Keller. I was talking to the buyer yesterday, and he said every VIP table gets sake pairings, which is incredible. My head exploded when I was talking to him. They've had sake in their program for a number of 3, 4, maybe 5 years, but it was like a second thought. And now it's become part of the regular routine. So places like that, especially during the pandemic, and every time I talk to a staff or a buyer, or when I write a piece for the local paper or whatever it is, there's always sort of a sounding voice that comes back, and people get excited. Once you tell the story, and something that Rob mentioned is, and I'm sure it was mentioned before, Sarah was a little late today, but it's putting the people that produce all these sakes in front, and putting that human element that connects it, and getting excited on the industry and promoting something that's so precious and requires or I mean, so yeah, a few words bad for all industries. We know a lot of people are drinking more at home, and one of the cool things is hearing people say, "Oh, my sushi was closed, but I went to my local shop, whether it was in Oakland, Francisco, or LA was, and now we have sake at home. And now we're experimenting it with different cuisine. Like we got DoorDash from this place, and we try with sake. And I get random people send me pictures like, "Oh man, this pairing was fantastic," and we would have never done it otherwise. And otherwise, because those restaurants, perhaps my local barbecue shop is never gonna have sake, but now I tried it because I had this open in the fridge and things like that. But yeah, it's an exciting time. I think in spite of all the negative aspects of the pandemic in the last few months, there's been a silver lining, at least on my view. I'm an ever positive person, and I love seeing things like this where the industry comes together. And I've been in the wine industry for, I don't know, 20 years, but something I always tell to all my friends, soms and winemakers and everybody in the mostly in the wine world is there's nothing like the sake world. Like everybody binds together. It's a big family, and it's pretty exciting to see how everybody collaborates in many ways. So, and that's about it. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, kanpai.
Kanpai.
Thank you so much for that insight. And I do feel my anxiety is like melted down when I first started, I just hear Timothy Sullivan's voice and I start to calm down, which is great. And then Justin Potts also. It must be these people that have podcasts, but also like their insight and positive thinking and looking at the long term and not being so like anxiety driven about your shipment isn't here and your customers have been waiting and I see the ships when I go for a walk in Long Beach. And like, you have to have a big picture and look at the positives. And this is an amazing time to be creative about sending the message about this craft. And that's really, really encouraging. And we have another amazing woman here, Simone from Australia. And this project, Operation Yuho, wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her creating over a year, more than a year now, creating this online community of people who are so passionate about sake industry, and hearing from Toji and the owners themselves. It really is Simone that created this community that brought up this idea of Operation Yuho. So I don't know, Simone, do you have a few words to grace us with from the very little time that you may have? We'd love to hear from you. And I don't know, we just love you and love what you're doing. And we thank you for all that you do, bringing everybody together all over the globe, especially sake geeks. We don't know how you do it. Keep at it. We all benefit from this gentle, inclusive love that you provide to the community. Is there anything that we can do to support your efforts in shining the spotlight to these people that you feel deserves it? We also feel really deserves it. How can we support your efforts in what you're doing? Because we think it's pretty amazing.
Well, I mean, hello everyone, and thank you. I've just gotten home and was laying in the sun for 5 minutes, which I very rarely do, which is why I'm bright red. But it's a beautiful autumn day here. It's only just after 2 in the afternoon, so I haven't opened a sake yet, which is quite unusual for me. But I think, I think there is the support there already. I mean, I've got an amazing group of people that come to these sessions that I host week after week. And if they don't, if they can't come, I even get apology messages, which is not necessary. But, when I logged on, I heard someone say the sake community is unlike any other community. And it is amazing. And I've got such a great team of people that help with interpretation, Justin being one at the forefront there. And also just helping with ideas and helping to secure sessions. And I had someone, I think Jason, it was you that asked me if I was tired on Tuesday night, because this week was the 1-year anniversary of the events that I host, and I'm not tired of doing them, but of course you get tired because there's so much work that goes into just one session, which isn't shown to everybody. But I feel like everybody knows how much work everyone's doing. So, Sachiko, you're no exception, and Monica and Justin and Jason over there in Japan, and, Timothy and other people that are in the game, Paul, like everybody is contributing. And I think the support's there from all of us to each other. And, there's nothing more that I could ask for from the community that have been behind what I'm doing. And it's not about any one particular person. Like everyone says, it's sake that brings us all together. And all we want to do is support these brewers that are making this magical beverage and make sure that, that they survive. And the session that we did on Tuesday night was really positive to hear that, some breweries are really thriving at the moment. So it was a great thing to hear that there are some that, that are doing pretty well and probably don't need as much support. But then, there are some others that really do need our support and love right now. So it's a matter of all banding together, like you said, and just doing what we can. Every little bit helps wherever we are in the world. So thank you for taking this project one step further.
Yay. Thank you for initiating and inspiring it. We have like 15 minutes left, 14 minutes left for the time that I've scheduled this for. If Chris from True Sake, or Ian from Umami Mart, or Richard from Tokyo, Kim, anybody, Kayoko-san from Umami Mart, anybody that wants to speak up, Madoka-san from Okinawa, this is your time to unmute yourself and hijack the conversation, because I'm already done with my U-Haul. And I've had plenty of delicious talk from everybody, and kind of therapeutic kind of things to think about. This is definitely not going to be a one-time thing. This is a conversation, and this is a continued conversation on how we can keep talking about this amazing beverage. And I know you guys have things to talk about.
Well, yeah, I'd love to say something. Hi, I'm Kayoko. I'm from Umami Mart in Oakland. I think Yoko said something earlier, and I'm not sure if she talked about Sake Gumi, which is our club membership, but just with the pandemic, it's just been such a community builder. I think we went into the pandemic with maybe like 150 or 175 members, and now we have over 250 members, and it just keeps building. And I think that there's this interest in, like, Tipsy too. You guys are killing it. Like, it's just building this community around sake. And True Sake in San Francisco, in the Bay Area, it's just in California, it's been really strong. And I think that there's a market for it, and people want it, and they want to learn more about it. So I think that all of us here on this call are just we're educators, and we're here to, provide knowledge about the subject. And I think that, we're all doing our best, and we're doing a good job, and we're getting the word out. And so I hope that, that is translating into sales, and it's supporting the Japan side. And this year has been so tough, but I don't think that we would have survived without our club, because our members have been so attentive, and they were our base customers. And I mean, I just can't thank our sake customers enough. And I don't think that we would have made it without sake. So thank you for putting this together, and thank you everybody for keeping this going.
Yay. Well, I think the sake as a product itself is very inspiring because of how carefully and thoughtfully it's made. But I agree with you, Kayoko-san, that we're supported just as much as by our customers. And I'm always surprised and inspired and what is it? Put back in my place about how forgiving and inclusive and thoughtful our customers are, because I have to be honest, like we have a subscription and we've lost hundreds of customers. One, it's the pandemic. Not everybody has money to keep buying, paying for a subscription. And then two, our delivery hasn't exactly been on time. We've had some supply issues just like anybody else. But the people that have remained are so cool. Like everybody's so patient and they understand that sake, is made from rice that is only harvested once a year. It's not like, it's not like we can just magically produce this bottle of sake out of nothing. It actually takes a huge effort to produce something delicious like yuho and everything else. And there's people that actually understand that and appreciate it. And it's like more than just money. It is like a community. And yeah, true sake, and you guys at Umami Mart, all these other places really do an amazing job. Places like Sake on Air connect people globally and put things into perspective. It really did help me, Justin, being in Japan and being like in the midst of this and having such a calm and calming kind of outlook, positive and sort of steady and not, it's just very true to who he is and how he sees the market. And it's very encouraging. I'm kind of more affected, I'm more of an emotional person. I get tense about certain things and I react to every maybe positive or negative feedback that we get about a product. And, so it's very, very helpful to be like, everything's okay, chill out, have a drink. Like I've probably had enough, but maybe not as much as Dilla. Cheers. Maybe not as much as Dilla, who's always surrounded by Ishobin. But there's 8 minutes left. But honestly, I've been going, this has been going for 3 hours, and I was gonna put like 5-minute breaks to like keep myself sane. But amazing people. Tamiko-san's still here. She's so generous with her time, and she always has like artwork in her background and like natural elements. And Todd has been an amazing drinking buddy from when I lived in Boston. Eduardo, it was amazing to travel with you to Japan several years back. And you are so humble with your wine knowledge. Everybody comes from such expertise. And I think this is an industry where you run into people who are so humble. And Jeff James is the brewer in Seattle who I worked for, and he was way more Japanese and humble. And I learned about Japanese sensibility from people like Jeff James and Todd Bellamy, and who are way more Japanese. So John Puma is here. That's very interesting. You just
Hello.
After having what? How many bottles at your?
So yeah, I am very recently vaccinated. So my wife and I and my best man slash celebrant and his wife went out because it was the first time we've gone out in a year, and the Born Gold 3 bottles between 3 of us. I am not sober, but I figured I would stop by and say hello.
That's okay. Right there. So cheers to that.
But New York is coming back, and that's the important thing.
New York is what?
Coming back. We're working on it.
Yeah,
Soon.
I know we
Little
are
bits and pieces.
vaccinated, and this is looking good, I think.
I think so. It's nice to see this group. I haven't seen Todd in a while. Justin, good to see you. Jason, you and I have to have a conversation about Osaka sometime.
Jason Adamson is known to walk into the party bus with Ishobin in his hand.
Well, he brought us to the place with the Ishobin when we were in Osaka, and it was there are memories. They are fragmented. And
We had a
Simone,
fantastic
of
start,
course. Congratulations, Simone, by the way. I did not get to visit the other day, but
Congrats
time
for
being
your
skewed.
1 year, and also
Congratulations on 1 year. This has been amazing.
cheers to everyone. Kanpai desu.
I'm gonna Mizu Kampai if you don't mind.
Hi, Kampai.
Sachiko-san, great job today. Thank you so much for all your hard work and your community of, sake community.
Arigato. I mean, I do this, drinking fest with anybody, anytime. So please reach out. We haven't heard from Richard Nakano in Tokyo, who is a regular at Taste with the Toji, I believe, who we had a personal connection, which is bizarre.
Yes, we were born on the same island
We're
in
born on
Alaska.
an island in Alaska. Our parents actually worked for the same company. We didn't realize. His father hosted my father before my father married my mother in Alaska for a few months. Anyways, long story. But tell us about yourself, how you're inspired by sake, and what has brought you to this community. I'm just curious because I haven't had a chance to talk about that stuff with you. And Rob has a little dog. He's adorable. Okay.
It's a long story, so I don't know if I can make it short, but actually my great-grandfather was brewing sake in Kyoto, mother's side. And well, that's that. And I just recently, just 3 or 4 years ago, started to enjoy sake, although I've been living in Japan for such a long time. And yeah, it just happened that I attended a sake event for Dasai. And that was the beginning of my journey with sake. Right now, I don't drink that much of Dasai, but it keeps on developing in a way, time by time, because right now I'm enjoying Junmai, Kimoto, Koshu, and Shochu, everything about sake, Japanese sake in a way. And I don't know, where should I start? Where should I end? Anyway, I just love this community that you've started, and I'm enjoying. I see so many familiar faces here: Justin, Jason, Simone, everybody that was on this community. And I don't know where to start. I don't know where to end. But anyway, everybody can contribute to spreading sake, and especially Japanese people. As Tamiko-san and Jason was saying, that Gyaku Yunyu, Japanese people love what's popular outside of Japan. Once it's popular outside, it will be popular again in Japan. Everything, like for example, the Kurosawa movies. In Japan, he was nothing until he won an award outside of Japan. And then everybody, loved his movie. So everything, Tamiko-san was talking about cars, but everything in Japan culture, if it's accepted or popular outside of Japan, it'll come back to Japan. So what you people are doing outside of Japan is definitely going to affect a lot back to Japan. So please keep up the work, and I'm sure that everything's going to be okay in the future.
That's amazing. Thank you. You're not drinking because it's morning in Japan, maybe or noon, but cheers to that. Thank you for your
Yeah, I'm sober.
silver.
Maybe he is.
Thing, Sachiko-san. This is like a very like a 15 year ago, it's like a topic for me, but it just brings me back so many memories. So like I went to a Japanese school and everything. So one of my professors like kept like really like implementing this one topic about like no matter what happens in Japan, Japanese kids are going to turn back when it comes to the marriage age, like this is back then, to do what was traditional being done. So they're more ready to explore what's happening outside in the world. And when it comes to the time to mature, they turn back to their own like traditions, and I always like felt it so close to the culture that I grew up in, like in Turkey, we're just like, hey, want to go and be done and not want to practice our own culture, and then like we either get married or like get real jobs and stuff. We're like, oh my God, mom, like trying to go back home. It's the same thing. And like, that just reminds me of that, how true it was what I was taught in school, because most of the time we always like talk about like what we learn in school is not the reality, right? I'm like, that hits the spot. It was the reality for what I learned, right? When it comes to a Japanese school for me. But the biggest thing that I have taken from today that I would like to say is like re-energizing sake in general, that I would say, I just switched to a sales position from a very spoiled buyer position that I was working for a Tao corporate. I was able to buy for anywhere in the world for Tao, right? Any kind of sake list anywhere in the world that belong to Tao corporate, not just like a Tao, but it could be for Koma, it could be on another property. But what I would say is that like once I jumped on this other side, I felt like I had to get more creative, right? Because I was like, I was a tough buyer. I was running everyone. So now these people are going to really run me. So what can I do? And I'm like, this is your first time tasting sake, Dila. This is your first time getting really excited about this. And remind myself why I was very excited about this, or why I was really excited about this. And I haven't seen many of these people in a long time. So I went there with a shifted energy. Like it's just new. Out of stock product, I just go in to the market like that's a new product. It has never been here before. Call me out if you want to. Then we can open up the conversation. But you know what? Like it's just like, hey, let me taste you this. Let's get this on your list. Let me make you the first one to pour this. Buy the glass. It's been on the market for 2 years, but you know what? You don't need to know. Or like it comes to another, like just a store, or like having someone support me. And one of my guests, like today, was like, oh, I am a follower of yours on Instagram and I want to buy it from a closer store. I'm like, girl, go to the store. They haven't purchased that product in a long time.
And Wendy?
Like, so I roll with that same energy. Like I just met sake. I have never had sake, and I just remind myself on that. So one of my biggest things that I would like to share today is like this, like the highest grossing steakhouse, right? We have been trying to get in there for many
$1,000 steak that you were talking about the other day.
Yeah, and I'm like, so there's 3 of you on this block and none of you are selling sake. So there's a Cowboy Yamaha. Just because of the label you should sign, but let me tell you why it would match for the steak. Or let's talk about you a little bit. Or like Tentaka, Hawk in the Heavens, right? Like my mind. And so I have 6 SKUs in a restaurant, a steakhouse that we have never been in before, that has 2 other competitors. I was like, you are going to be, Jason Cha, hi, so different than the other ones. So people are ready to go out. Some people, we always want to be thoughtful because we work for the industry, but there's a lot of people that are so ready, so thirsty to go out and spend money like they have never been out before. So, what does this bring us to? New experiences, right? So, hey, let us throw a glass of sake to your experience of whole like evening.
I like throwing it at them, catch it.
Oh, I throw it. I will literally walk out with the extra like a shelving because people will be like, "This shelving is not going to fit in our like a fridge." And I'm like, let me take this second layer off. Now it fits, right? So I'm walking out with that. So it's all about like, making it fun and being energized about it. So this is how I found success. And I appreciate everybody's comment. I have taken 17 like little notes like this. So this was so helpful. This was so amazing. And
Well,
I cannot
I think
Hachiko enough.
Yeah, Dira-chan, your energy and enthusiasm and professionalism and intel, all of those things are so beneficial for this community. And we never want to put a leash on you. We just want to let you go wild and, inspire as people as you can, because like Timu-san was saying, I think everybody has their own community of people that they're able to inspire, and I think that's what it's all about. It's 9:36. I'm gonna like chill out and wind down. For those of you on the East Coast, it is 12:36 a.m. And I'm gonna give this to Jason Adamson, who just he looked like an Ishobing. Did you just open an Ishobing?
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I didn't realize my mic was still on. Sorry. Yeah, I just thought, you know what? It's 1:35.
1:35. Yeah, let's do a closing.
Crack in your show bin on what day is it? Friday afternoon?
Yeah, or Thursday night. Who knows?
Chris has like 2 Yuho in his hands that look and I thank everybody for joining. I'm really curious about Simone's background. What
Well, I just thought I'd put it up there because
there he is.
This is
Awesome.
Nakama-san. This is Nakama-san from Sakai Shuzo, so from Gokyo. And I think for me, this represents just how amazing these people are, because every single session of Taste with the Toji, there is someone from another brewery that will attend in support. And this was Nakama-san at the Nijikai after Shintani Shuzo session, eating a baby shark.
That baby shark might be eating him.
I just happened to capture that moment and that expression, and I think it sums them up so well. They're just such amazing people, and the time that they give to projects like mine and other people's too, when I know they're still incredibly busy. But yeah, it's a win-win, and I think for me that this sums up the joy that we're getting from it as well. So I thought I'd just pop it up there, and I just got a message from Jim Ryan saying that the background is killing me. So I know he appreciates that too. So hi Jim, you're watching on Facebook. But yeah, just a bit of fun, because at the end of the day, it's been a crazy time for the world, but it's wonderful that we can all still gather together and share sake and share a laugh, and even better when we can do it with the brewers. So yeah, just wanted to add a little bit of humor.
Amazing. Arigato. It is such a crafty, creative group, right? And everybody's very koi kara. And very weird in their own way, and in the most loveliest way. So I do want to hand it to Jason Adamson to close with this Ishobing.
What hell am I closing? I've just started.
Closing. He's gonna keep going. That's not how he
Yeah, I'm
rolls.
just
He doesn't,
opening
he doesn't
now.
close.
Okay, Jason Adamson and Chris Cabrera is going to close because and Dilla is going to close because she kills with the Ishobi.
This is not how things close. This is
My son just got home from school, and he's like, "Dad, what are you doing
Figures
already?"
So, oh my gosh, Ian has two. Taka. Okay, so Ian kind of kills it too, but everybody's just
I've got my U-Haul on order. It should be here tomorrow.
And then order.
I have my U-Haul in my bar,
What
but I'm good. I'm good for the night.
I am so jealous of Ian. I still haven't tasted the takanama.
Takanama looks amazing.
I know.
I want to know what Justin's drinking.
What a delightful
Yeah,
sake.
I can't believe he was here. Michael has the taka too. It's pretty crazy.
If I have to drink, Justin, you have to drink.
Yeah, Eduardo and Napa is gonna have all the free.
Is that how this works?
I don't think anybody
Peer
said he had
pressure?
to drink.
Peer pressure,
If
is that
I'm,
what this
if
group
I'm
is
drinking
about?
at 1:30, if I'm drinking at 1:40 in the afternoon, you have to as well, buddy.
This is called mutually supportive. This is
I think it might be
enabling. We're enabling each other.
This is mutually assured destruction is what it is, Justin.
I'm a team player. It's fine. Let me see what I can do.
There you go.
But I want to thank everybody for joining. I'll let you all know the second time. There's so much more I want to say, like how I had my first brewery experience at Todd Bellamy's brewery and how that touched my soul and how, that was a defining moment for me and things like that. So Simone, when you do that,
Simone, that's terrifying.
it looks like you.
It's like that ball's coming out of his face. It's just...
it's a bottle. It's amazing. And Kim, hope you have a drink because you deserve it after a long day at setting sun. And Shinobu-san, Harold, Yuji-san, thank you for joining. I'm so grateful for this conversation. Still on a mission to sell out of U-Haul from every state. Give Dilla and Monica a run for their money. And I'll hand it over to Jason again for the closing kampai.
But Justin's going to get a drink.
Yeah, we're
We
on
can't
pause
finish
while
yet.
Justin gets a drink. I thought that was like the
Wait,
move.
this is Nijikai.
He's gonna get
Sachiko, we should have like a little Nijikai session.
Gosh,
for
I
you.
go to sleep. I'm so tired.
Probably gonna
I
get
mean, everybody should go.
tea or something.
But
All right.
I want to hear from Todd Bellamy and how his new brewery's going.
Well, you missed it. We heard from him in the beginning, but anyway.
Well, can you
Can't
tell us
hear
again? I can't hear him anyway.
Yeah, what's wrong with your mic? We can hear you. He said it's going great.
Oh, good. All right, at least we know.
Hey,
can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yes.
Yay! Bluetooth apparently is not my friend at midnight. But
Bluetooth is no one's friend, sir.
I know. It's okay. So Jason, you didn't hear me earlier, but things are going well. Actually, during this whole call, I negotiated all of my customs paperwork for my sake press, which is arriving from China in about a month. So it's on a boat currently. It weighs 6 metric tons, which is a little bit more than I thought it weighed. But 13,227 pounds for those of you who don't know metric. So yeah, things are going well. I work at night and then nap in the day and then work all morning.
So you're working now.
Is that a
Yeah, I'm
sake or
working now.
coffee?
Yeah,
What
I
is
do
that?
some consulting work for some Japanese companies. And so I work at night and then I do consulting in the morning and then work on my own brewery and then take a little rest. Since there aren't a lot of people, this is what my bottle is going to look like if anybody's interested.
I am excited.
It's 207 milliliters, which is a weird size, but it was as close to 200 as I could get. The other one looks like this and has a yellow cap.
Very retro.
It's about like 80s sci-fi inspired. And so, yeah, they're going to be single serve. They're cute. This one's going to have an orange cap. I just didn't have orange cap. So, but 80s sci-fi inspired single serve in my area in Boston, Mass, or, in Massachusetts as a whole, single serve is the only thing that sells, people. So I love U-Hole, which what I'm drinking right now. But single serve is really moving the needle here in Massachusetts. So anything between
like the default. Eshobi needs to be the default for some.
I agree. I think that would be awesome. But here in Massachusetts, it's so I have some lovely friends who own a chain of 5 liquor stores, and they allowed me to completely revamp their sake selection. And we are selling more sake than they've sold in the last 40 years. And it's all just cups and cans. So people want variety, and people who don't know about sake want lower cost of entry. And so single serve in Massachusetts is what's moving the needle. So we're going to go single serve at Farthest Star Sake. So, and a beer cap with a twist off finish. So that's what we're doing. Pretty wacky.
Bad.
I tried to invest in your brewery, but
right now that I need to ask Monica that we need to make beer caps.
Oh, yeah, this is the only bottle I could find domestically. I didn't want to order all my bottles from overseas. So this is made in Virginia and then shipped up to me in Massachusetts. Beer crowns are actually a awesome closure that's had a lot of years of testing, and it's pretty cheap on the brewery side. So about 1.5 cents per cap. Yeah.
Fantastic. I'll see you next month.
Oh yeah, you're gonna be up here, and I just started following you on Instagram.
I will be right there.
Yeah, hit me up. We're starting construction next week, so we don't have a brewery yet, but I'd love to see you in Boston if you're gonna come to Boston.
Perfect. I'll hit you up.
Awesome. I'm fully vaccinated, so I'll meet you out wherever you want.
Great. I got the Janssen.
Awesome.
And I have to get an MRI for it, but I'm gonna make it there.
So all right, after everybody checks out Simone's background, because that's another amazing background that she's teased us with.
Completely.
She's rocking those backgrounds.
She's just like silently making us all jealous.
Yeah, a little bit.
But let's do a final kampai, since Jason didn't really take the reins. He just kind of let it.
He was waiting for Justin, and Justin came back while Todd was talking.
All right,
and Justin has sake now.
Now Jason can take the floor.
I just want to make sure that I'm being fair to everybody.
Justin and Jason.
I just drank all my sake. Now I have to pour another one. Hang on.
Get in America, make us drool.
What are we doing? Okay, so
Jason's got the cayenne.
Oh yeah, I got a cayenne.
And Justin, what are you pouring there? You are muted, sir.
Hana something.
Yeah, I kind of got that too.
Uzen Shiraume from Yamagata.
I have never had that before.
Junmai Ginjo. It's a nigori that it's been open for about the last 6 months. It's better now than it was then. It was good.
Awesome.
It was good at the beginning, and it's even better now. It's pretty nice.
Fantastic.
Yeah, cheers.
And silently listening with Taka in the background. That's cool.
So are we just doing kampai?
I think so.
Kampai,
Kampai, everybody.
Who's got the screenshot?
Bye-bye.
Screenshot.
Love you all. Keep
Kampai. Cheers. Thank you.
See you next
Cheers,
time.
everybody, and
thanks all. Sachiko Sensei,
success
thanks so
for
much for
Operation
doing
Yuho.
this.
Yeah, man.
Yes, Sachiko.
Did you count the number of sake samurais on here? Did you count them?
I didn't count.
Later.
I didn't count.
And this is recorded, so I'll post this. And
Please do.
and all the businesses that are amazing that took part. And we'll do this again. Arigatou gozaimashita.
ありがとう。
ありがとう、
幸子さん。
はい、ありがとうございました。
Lovely to see everyone.
Yes, thank you.
Keep killing it out there, everybody.
Yeah, keep being the badass. Good. which is a good word.
待ってね、皆さん。
Yeah,
Hi, Simon.
next time. Thank you, Simon.
Hi, Simon.
Trying to attend your amazing sessions.
Tachiko, you should probably press the recording off.
Oh,
Facebook.
but if I end it, it'll just, you know.
Is anybody staying or no?
We could keep drinking.
That's why I'm saying turn the recording off and then we can just keep drinking.
Off and just
Do you want me to make? I'm gonna go, but do you want me to make you host, Dilla?
Sure. Or somebody else.
How do I do
Yeah,
that?
give Dillo a host and turn off recording on Facebook.
I'm gonna make you host.
Hi, Facebook.
And then I will stop recording so you can swear all you want.